Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Unpaid and Underrated podcast, a podcast for crew, by crew, about crew, featuring crew, Massonomics crew. And not so much mocked this week. They kind of laid off of us this week. I think Drone had an episode everybody kind of just didn't find a lot to bother me about. Uh, yeah, I just want to say, like, I notice when I'm not being mocked in the Discord. I am joined by Big Keith. You guys have heard of him before.
Hello. Some people know me as Orange Glaze.
Now we've got Big Andrew.
Hey there. I would like to point out that I did take issue with your pronunciation of Fuji apples. That's the
Fuji,
only thing.
Fuji.
That's the only issue I found this past week.
Well, it's because I actually couldn't remember which one it was. So you
Yeah.
notice I kept going back and forth because,
Yeah.
like, a broken clock's right once a day, right? So
Yeah. I
if
like
I just
it.
go back and forth. Oh, so Big Andrew. Now we're gonna call you Andrew, Andy, Clawtron. What are we calling you?
Oh, just call me Andrew. Yeah.
All right, Big Andrew it is. So first and foremost, what are you guys drinking?
I have got a mango spindrift. I have not tried this one yet, so let's get a little quick dive right in of it. Ooh, I don't like that. That's that's weird. Oh, yeah.
I've
Definitely
never seen
more
such an immediate
Hey,
reaction.
definitely more mango than orange, like a little tart. A lot tart.
have you had spindrifts before?
If I have, they weren't memorable. I'm
Okay.
sure I have, but they're not in like my go-to like two or three brands that I'm like, okay, I know I can trust like seven of these flavors of this brand. It's definitely not one of those.
Yeah, they use juice in it, and
Okay, that
yeah, I
makes more
like that.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the
Okay,
essence flavor, not the
yeah, I
juice
didn't
flavor.
realize this was juice. It's got
Is
a
it
bunch of
so
sugar.
it's like a non-alcoholic mimosa?
Yeah, I guess I thought it was.
Oh, that
I don't
sounds
think it has any
awful.
sugar or anything in it. I don't know. It looks like it's
No added
whatever.
sugar probably, but it's probably got like real life sugar.
Yeah, if it's got juice, definitely. Okay, well, I would not buy this one again. That's for sure.
I'm drinking a Keith's. I'm not even gonna mess around tonight. I'm Keith's.
Nice.
Um,
So for this momentous occasion, I decided to get a drink that honors each one of you.
Oh,
So for Joey, Broken Skull IPA, got that
hell yeah.
in my koozie. That's where I'm going right now. I would have liked to have Keats, but I have never ever seen it down here in Southern California. So
And you won't.
that's yeah, and that's it. And so once that's done for Keith, I am going to drink this hard orange Mountain Dew, zero
ooh,
sugar. It has zero sugar, so it's healthy.
that's intriguing.
Um, I have never seen these in Southern California, but my younger brother in Arizona had them when I went there for Thanksgiving. He did not like the orange. I took the orange. And this perhaps is a masters or submasters thing, but it tastes exactly like orange triaminic from the 80s, which is the medicine that all of us had in the
Hmm.
80s. So good memories with that flavor.
Well, that was definitely a good hold on to, you know. Now, did you anticipate that you were going to get called up to the big leagues on this episode, that you were going to save it for that, or you just something you had in your fridge and you hadn't gotten to?
I took it because I wanted to drink it, and I and
Yeah,
it's just been sitting around. Uh, I kind of don't drink as much as I used to, but I figure for tonight
Yeah,
we'll do it. Yeah,
it was
have fun.
fated.
yeah,
Enjoy that.
Can you get the broken skull out there?
yeah, yeah. It's everywhere. I mean, it's
Yeah.
El Segundo is where it's brewed.
Oh,
So,
so they're in. Oh, yeah, they're in
yeah,
California because he's from
yeah.
Texas, and I always get confused because it's actually hard to find close to the Canadian border.
Oh,
It
yeah,
in Ohio that we had to like drive around to find it, and in New York it was the same thing. Like it's not everywhere.
yeah. Just about every grocery store has it now. So,
Well, lucky you. It's
yeah,
delicious.
yeah.
What are you wearing? What do you guys got?
I'll go. I got the Raw Power shirt on. It's the first shirt I purchased from Massonomics,
Good
and
one.
I love it. It's my favorite. It really pops. I love the colors. I love how just over the top it is. Uh, I try to wear it everywhere.
It's pretty ridiculous.
A couple times my wife has said, "Are you wearing that?" And I was like, "I thought it was fine."
Yeah, I don't
It's a
care
go.
whose wedding this is.
Yeah, it's a going out shirt for me.
It's casual Friday. It'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah.
That is one that actually I haven't worn that one in a while, but mostly because I just can't find it.
And
Ugh.
it's in the vault right now.
Yeah.
And what worries me is that I'm going to wear this out and then not be
Mhm.
able to get it again. And I'm sure the boys will re-release it at some point, probably on blue, real original.
Yeah, a different blank that doesn't fit right. So
Yeah.
you screwed yourself not buying two. That's the tricky part. It's like when you find one that fits perfect, like just buy another one. Just buy another one and like don't even open it. Just leave it in a drawer, deal with it. But I haven't had any wear out. But granted, like my oldest Massimo shirt's like 3 years old, maybe. I mean, definitely got some letters faded. I think one of my lift shorts is probably the most worn. I have a couple pair that don't even fit anymore, but when I was wearing them, they were like 80% completely gone with like the lift logo.
None of
I
my
think
pairs fit anymore.
yeah. I'm rocking out my strongman meat shirt. I'm sure we'll dive into that a little bit later to try to do a brief recap on it. But that is, I figured that was a good shirt for the evening. So I'll probably end up tacking it to the wall after this episode.
Yeah, I get it nice and sweaty first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a big Mike Van Wyck shirt on. It's the Orca Mob one. Um, like I'm really just running out of shirts that fit. So like a lot of these are going to be repetitive where I can wear a medium and look good and like it might fit, but when I want to be comfortable, I have to wear a large. And I don't have a lot of larges. And when I'm recording, I want to be comfortable. I don't care how I look. So
Yes.
a lot of repetitive shirts coming out of me.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm starting to get that way with extra large 2X. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've mentioned it before. I like it. Like let's just get bigger. Let's just get bigger. It'll be fine. Like you just get a little bigger. And then like now I'm rebuying shirts and yeah.
I keep swigging the Spindrift, thinking it's not going to taste fucking horrendous, and it tastes horrendous every sip. But
Because
I'm
you're wearing the wrong
stubborn.
glasses.
Yeah, yeah. I am bit stuffed up. Still wearing Big Tron's orange glasses. They were a hit. This is the light therapy ones that are a lot more like they're like
They're
100%.
yeah, very orange.
But I have been wearing the actual blue blockers have been my pretty much driven home every day wearing them. And depending on what time it is in the morning, if it's pitch black, I'm not going to wear them. But if it's at
Yeah.
least the sun's coming up, I'll put them on. Just super, just I don't know, definitely make me more alert. Like if it's just a hair dark, it's like, oh, okay, I can actually see what's on the other side of the road now. But I don't know. I've been definitely opting to wear those for my regular sunglasses. So thanks again, Big Tron. Really appreciate that.
Well, you don't want to wear those too much. Like blue light is bad for you maybe in the last 2 hours of your day,
Okay.
but like blue light exists on the UV spectrum for a reason. So mostly when you're looking at screens, you want to wear them.
Yeah.
Especially like I said, about 1 to 2 hours before bed. And your iPhone and actually any of your Mac products will have a blue light filter built in.
Yeah, I have mine at like I basically have it warm at like at 8 or 9 p.m. It goes to warm, but it's still
Yeah.
it's in comparison to having these fuckers on though, it's like oh
Oh
wow,
no,
they're
you're
still
completely
I'm still
different.
seeing a lot of blue.
Yeah. I have a sack, guys.
Ooh, is it a trim sack or is it is it a Canadian full Monty, just unkempt sack?
Okay, so I cut it open earlier. I got my
Oh, blood everywhere.
fancy blade with a ram's horn that I use to open it because that's my desk knife. And I actually haven't looked in it yet. This comes from
Ooh,
Big Scott. Big Scott Dodds.
okay.
Yeah, Big Hot sent me this one. I
Ooh,
don't know what's in it
okay.
yet, so we're gonna find
I'm
out together.
intrigued. How large of a sack do you have there, Joe? That's
It's a big box,
substantial.
but it's light. It's very,
Yeah.
very light.
And
Okay,
with
so
with Amazon.
I'm gonna try and not look.
Okay.
I'm gonna find the letter first. All right,
Oh,
I see
nice.
what's in there. There's a letter. Okay, look at the letter first.
Nice.
I've kind of seen what's in there, but I don't have any
No,
details. Who dat?
we're
Oh,
joined.
look who it is.
We got a looky Lou.
All right. So,
Just in time for a sack segment. We have a voyeur that just showed up to look at Joey's sack. Big Tron joined just for a little visual
Yeah.
saction, if you will.
Well, Joey Sack brings all the boys to the yard.
okay. So, I don't know how well my thing says, but that is the Dodzilla Deadlift Dungeon.
Nice.
It says unpaid and underrated podcast. Hey,
Nice.
Joey. Please enjoy the Dodzilla Deadlift Dungeon shirts. The black shirt is custom cut by me myself. I fancy myself the best in the land at cutting shirts. Thanks for introducing me to all these crew members this last year, as well as having me on the podcast. Thanks for the hours of chatting with other people that, even though I've never met, most I now consider friends, all due to your podcast. July is going to be one to remember. Big Joey, I expect a deadlift PR pulled while wearing one of these. Keep your head on a swivel at the Lift Hard Live Easy meet, brother. I have a sneaky RKO with your name on it. And he has an unpaid or underrated with us. Unpaid or underrated. Wearing a Massonomics singlet to a Massonomics powerlift. Is that like wearing a Kiss tee to a Kiss concert?
Ooh.
So I'll give you guys all a chance to answer that. Keep up the great work. Scott Dodds, aka Dodzilla, Big Hot, and the first supporter #1.
Nice.
He also sent me some stickers from the Deadlift Dungeon, because him and I have joked about how I always joke that powerlifters call everything their dungeon.
Now, those are probably plate snack stickers. We're not 100%, but we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and say they are. And go ahead and use code unpaid at Plate Snacks to get some big hot stickers.
And a rookie card.
Oh, sweet.
He sent me his rookie card. So let's get a look at these shirts, guys. All right.
Tron, to kill your audio, please.
Todd, you got to mute yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Big
so
Tron
we got
just turned into big scants over
we
here.
got a red one.
Technolo.
Dodzilla Deadlift Dungeon, established 2020.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna turn off this background because it's affecting.
Yeah, because I'm struggling to see what you're showing us.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Oh, sick. Okay.
So it's got Dodd's Deadlift Dungeon, Strongman Jim. He's hauling a log
with some skulls on it. It looks like, and his logo.
Some ammonia in there.
Nice. Obsidian ammonia. Code unpaid.
And then also code unpaid. And then here's the black one. Whoa, look at that. So it's also got Dodds.
Nice.
Deadlifting.
Love
with
it.
his red lift hat. Look at the red lift hat. Bastard had to throw that one in.
Brags about that. Now that's something he's going to be so mad when that finally wears out and he gets like so stinky with just sweat because he lifts in that thing, I think, too.
Only at special occasions.
Okay, he saves it, so he's kind of milking it for a prolonged life. That's smart. And how'd that work out perfectly? Joey was just talking about having minimal fitting shirts, and he just got 2 in the mail.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. So,
Can't
guys,
beat that.
Do you wear the Massonomics singlet to the Massonomics meet? Like, is that?
I do. Like Kiss Army, I think Crü is definitely greater than Kiss Army as far as like we're more tight knit, whereas like Kiss doesn't give a fuck about the Kiss Army. Kiss isn't intermingling with the fucking Kiss Army.
But like we mock the Tool fans for wearing Tool and a Perfect Circle shirts to their shows.
I think it's night and day difference. We're literally all friends. There's 300 of us, and 100 of us are going to go show up and hang out together. That's not the same. We don't. What is it? What was the movie someone was asking me about this week? 40-Year-Old Virgin, wasn't it? And so the scene in that is like putting the pussy on the pedestal. I think wasn't that a scene? So like that's what people do. That's what people do to bands. We don't do that to Tommy and Tanner necessarily. Like I don't put them on a pedestal to you. Like they're just like they're our buddies. So I don't feel that's the same thing.
You don't put the Tommy on a pedestal.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andrew?
I don't know the way Keith reacted to the Tommy Shakira thing. Maybe, but I do agree with Keith though. I mean, that's always been a rule for every band. You don't wear the band shirt to the concert. But I'm not going to watch Tanner and Tommy do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I like Keith was saying, we're all going. So, are we all part of the band in a certain?
That's a good point. Yeah, like I'm not playing guitar for Kiss.
Yeah. You know, maybe we're all on tambourine for just doing our little part.
John, any input?
No, yeah, I just wanted to pop in and see if Keith was still wearing the glasses. But yeah, no, you definitely we do not idolize or purify Tommy or Tanner. So
definitely. Okay. So it sounds like the consensus is go ahead and wear your Massonomic singlet.
Well, I hope so, because I got one. Well, I got two now, technically. Thank you, big Scan.
All right. So that was my sack segment. Hey, man. Thanks, Big Scott. Big Hot, Big Dodds. They all rhyme. Hot Scott Dodds.
Well, I'd say before we kick Big Trond off, let's go ahead and talk about any feedback. We got some I'm Just Crü. Everyone listening now, it's been like a week and a half, I think, or at least a week since the song came out. I've listened to it literally 4 or 5 times a day, just out of like, I don't know, like it hypes me up, man. I don't know. Like if I'm having a shitty day, I'm driving home from work, I'm like, I just need to jam out to some I'm Just Crü and just like completely take all the stress away. I mean, I did lift to it the other day, but that was more just for Instagram. I don't know that I can really get super pumped to it, but it's a chill song because it reminds me that like I've got this huge circle of friends that got my back, and it's just like I don't know, it's part of something bigger than me. So that song has really been sick. I've really much enjoyed it. I hope we can get some kind of video made. I know no one has time to edit that together. I'm even thinking like it'd be cool to just do like a 3-minute song, so just literally make up a slideshow of pictures from the last year of just like crew stuff, and even if that's the video, like I don't even care, like that would be worth it. Just like 50 pictures from like people interacting, other crew interacting with each other. That with just the video would be easy enough to make, you'd think. But I think it would be cool to do like a legit video and like really make it funny, but I don't know who's got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Andrew, have you listened to the song yet?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I heard the version on the podcast Tuesday, without any background music, and then yesterday I listened to it with the music, and I liked it a lot with the music. It builds. It kind of pumps you up, I think.
It's so over the top though. I love it.
Yeah, that's why.
The hard part for me was like the lyrics change like every stance or whatever. So then like I keep wanting to say, I'm just Crü and so are you. And that's only the lyrics like one time. So I get it wrong like every other time. I'm like, fuck.
I'm shocked it didn't go, I'm just Crü and I'm just a silly goose. Like that was an easy rhyme that I think I keep singing and then looking at the lyrics going, I don't think that's actually in there.
Well, Joey, you have kids, so you'll relate to this where maybe my daughter will sing a song and just like kind of make up what she thinks the words are.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we all can do is just we Tron was the visionary behind this all, and we we can take it and make it our own, but that's what Crü's all about. You just
Absolutely.
I don't know. We have the original artist here. He may not appreciate such things.
Yeah, he's don't mess with my art, he says.
No, I'm saying absolutely. The more Weird Al takes on a Weird Al song you can make, the better the world will be.
All right. Keith, tell us about your thingamagoo there, your strongman thingamagoo.
God. The meat was this so the strongman show. I think Big Chris kind of summed it up. Like I thought I was gonna just eat shit on all the events or not be able to complete them or not be able to do the entry weight, but I did everything I anticipated. I exceeded my expectations. I completed everything. Did I come in 10th out of 12 people? Yeah, but it's my first strongman show. Didn't know what I was doing. Had literally never touched like 80% of the implements before that day. So it was a stiff bar deadlift, worked up to a small PR on that. Hook grip, which probably wasn't the smartest thing because I ended up ripping the shit out of my thumb, which affected me on
Can't you use straps at there?
You could, but I knew what I could pull, and I really wanted to actually be able to say, okay, I have a new stiff bar deadlift PR now. And if I had done straps, I wouldn't have counted it because I don't pull on straps. But now that I got out of the way, and if I do another strongman thing, yeah, looking back now, I should have just used fucking straps, and not even that I could have pulled much more with straps, but I could have saved my fucking thumb. Because when I had to do the farmer's carries, I dropped the fucking implement twice. One with my right hand, which my right hand is a better grip, but I had a fucking Band-Aid and tape on it, and I just was like, throbbing pain. So that affected that. So deadlifts went fine. Log and actual medley was 165 for reps back and forth under a minute. or at a minute. Ended up getting 3 reps total. I probably could have got a fourth. I was literally like, I was so gassed that I was just walking back and forth to the implements where everybody else was like sprinting. So I was like, I definitely lost probably 10 or 15 seconds just kind of like casually like walking and catching my breath. Stones. First time I ever picked up a stone was in warm ups, and it was 150 pounds. Lapped it and got it over a 50-inch bar. And then the lowest option for the weight was 200. It was either 200 or 240. And I was like, well, I'm going to go to 200. And I didn't even try to actually pick it up during warm ups. Well, I lapped it during warm ups, but I didn't want to like blow my wad and try to go over the bar with it if that's all I had, because I just had no clue what I'd be able to get. So I ended up being second on stones, and I didn't want to wear tacky, which worked out good because the thing wasn't that tacky. It didn't have a bunch of tacky on it because I wasn't just familiar with how tacky works and just gets all over you and shit. I wasn't trying to deal with that. So I got the first rep, super like surprised I got it in like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 seconds, get through it over. Got one more, was very surprised, and then like my lats and my back just kind of locked up, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I had 30 seconds left, and I definitely could have got 1 or 2 more reps if I like was feeling good, but I wasn't feeling good, so I was like, I was like, yep, I'm good. Thanks, guys. So finished that up. That went into the farmer's carry and Husafelt medley. Farmer's carry was 200 a hand. The Husafelt was 220. It was like down and back with, one and then down back with the other, like, I don't know, 30, 50 feet, something like we call it 40 feet. Dropped the farmers because of my handle being all fucked up, but they had a rule of like, as long as you dropped it in like the first like 5 feet, they'd let you pick it back up. But if you dropped it like halfway down, it was pretty much over. So they let me finish that, and then I dropped it like as I was crossing the finish line too, and I was like, "Are they gonna count that?" Because like the one hand was definitely over, or like the one implement was over, but the other one I kind of like slid over as I was falling forward. But they're like, "Yeah, you're good." And then I just fucking literally just picked up the Husafelt and like super easy, surprisingly, but then like kind of waddled my fat ass down with it when everyone else was like sprinting. So when I like watched my buddies' videos after the fact, I was like, "The fuck." Like I'm stronger than some of you guys because like I literally outperformed you in all these other events, and then like you literally just like sprinted when I had to like could barely walk down. So it was super interesting to see like kind of like in powerlifting how you can be really good at one and kind of suck at the other and all that. So like seeing that play out in strongman was interesting because I'd never actually like I think I went and helped my buddy at one, but I've never really like paid attention at like an amateur strongman. But it was a blast. It was fun. I think they ended up raising like almost 10 grand for the guy's charity too. So that was
yeah.
if anyone had donated to that, really appreciate that. And I can definitely see myself doing it again. Like that level. Like I'm not gonna try to like sign up for like probably like regular strongman shows where the novice class weights are probably out of my reach or like right at the peak, but this particular show, there's a lot of younger people that do it, so they keep the novice weights like doable. And they were like right in my wheelhouse of what I could do. So, as far as what I'm going to implement going forward in my training, I think I'm going to keep some kind of clean and press. I can actually clean and press in my basement just barely, so I might keep that in as like an athletic overhead press versus just like a static overhead press, just to kind of get like a little bit of fun cardio, if you will. But yeah, and then my buddy Chris, other crew, destroyed his. He I think he won everything and would definitely not be allowed to do novice again. So he's got to go play with the big boys next time.
Well, good for you, man, and congrats on raising that money for that. It's a good reason to do anything, right?
Absolutely, it was fun.
Well, I watched all your videos on Instagram of you doing all the events. I thought it was pretty cool. I've always sort of wanted to kind of try that out, and it was just neat seeing somebody who I consider might be, similar level to me, just not knowing anything about it, go out there and truly compete at it. I thought it was cool, man.
Thanks, man. I was definitely a power lifter out of water, basically. I was a fish out of water there for sure. Like, because they're like a very like close knit group, and all the dudes knew each other for the most part, like the veterans at least. So, which is similar to powerlifting. It's just there didn't seem to be much of an overlap. Like, I didn't see I saw one other dude that I knew from powerlifting. Other than that, it was just like a whole new crowd for me, which is weird to like know there's this whole other fitness community in Rochester that's like aren't powerlifters. Like, okay, that's kind of cool. So I can like expand my horizons a little bit and, make new connections and still fitness adjacent, well, powerlifting adjacent, if you will.
Yeah, I remember watching your video and just yelling, "Get your hands over that rock." Because I remember the first stone you lifted, you still tried to hug it a little and you weren't going over.
Yeah,
And all I remember is being terrified I was going to tear my bicep. I've only lifted stones once. I'm not like some like expert, but I was just like, oh no, he's going to hurt himself. Oh no, oh no. And then you were fine. That's why I remember watching that.
I definitely have a goal of, so that one was 200 and they have a 240. I'm gonna go and do a day pass one time when I train with my buddy there. I'm getting that goddamn, like, I'm loading that 240 no matter what. Like this year, like, I think I have that in me. Like, can I load more than 240? Fuck, I don't know, but 240 is maybe doable.
All right, dope. Good work.
Yeah.
I want to rate last week's episode, the Bells of Steel episode,
Yeah.
with the
What'd
guy
you think of
who's
it, Andrew? Did you catch it, Andrew?
Oh yeah.
Cave
So
on, I believe.
yeah,
thank you, Kayvon.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I like Kayvon. He's always been uh really good to the home gym community. Um, you know, back when the Garage Gym Reviews Facebook group was somewhere that was fun to be, Kayvon would come in and he would always be very positive and, give us glimpses as to what they were working on and such. Um, I was somewhat disappointed that Tommy has listened to the new Blink 182 album. I was hoping that he could take that a little bit longer. And I also was thinking that I was going to deduct either a shuffle or a nano for them not knowing, especially a Canadian not knowing about Boxing Day. However, because in 2020, when I got a flat bench from Bells of Steel and uh, reviewed it on Garage Gym Reviews Facebook group, he saw it and decided that they would send me a shirt for free. I'm going to give it 5 iPod. Are we doing touches or are we doing click wheels? Massonomic gyms, iPod touches, yeah.
I think Joey got confirmation that they had a little bit of everything, so we're
Yeah,
gonna stick with iPod
everything. They had
touches.
nanos, touches,
Yeah.
click wheels.
We're crew.
Yeah.
We touch each other when we're here.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the special edition U2 version of the click wheel, the black and red one. I mean, that one was pretty rare. So
Because nobody fucking wanted it.
no, they gave me that song on my
The whole album.
iPhone. Yeah, I was like, I can't get that to go away.
They're like, congratulations, here's this for free. And we're like, eh.
It's like no one ever really wanted Bono. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's talked about that, and like it was pre me ever having an iPhone, so I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember that. No, I didn't have an iPhone until like 2015.
Yeah, that was my first. That was actually my first. I didn't have an iPhone at the time. It was my first iPod, because I've talked about it before. How I had Android phone and iPod, and then one day was like, I'm sick of carrying two things.
Yeah.
And yeah, they forced it on you on with that one software update, and like you had to go and like remove settings to get rid of it. It was pretty stupid.
That sounds super annoying. I enjoyed last week's episode. Anything that talks about the twins, it's fun and memorable. Kayvon didn't sell me on buying anything from Bells of Steel, though. He just like nothing against him. He seemed like he had no. I don't know if he was just super tired, but he had like no passion about his company or what he does for a living, and definitely made it sound like it's just like something that he just fell into and like begrudgingly is doing. Which I don't want to buy equipment from someone that looks at his company like that. So I will probably never buy anything from him specifically for that episode. So for that and having me avoid anything from Bells of Steel, I'll go ahead and give Tommy and Tanner in the Massonomics episode 5 iPod touches.
All right. So hardcore disagree. I buy a lot of stuff from Bells of Steel. I have a great fat bench from them. My first power bar was from them. I've got crash mats from them. They make very good, low cost, high quality stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've been to the Toronto showroom, and I was the only one there. And I don't know, like I guess I'm not into this as you two might be, but their showroom is legitimately, you walk in and they go, oh yeah, there's the gym. And you get to go just work out.
It's pretty cool.
And you just like, they're like, we don't care, just touch everything, lift everything. And like, that's the coolest showroom I've ever been to. And actually, when I bought the fat bench, I walked in and I was like, I want this. And the guy was like, we're out of stock. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just investigate and buy it online. And he was like, okay, hold on, we have one. It's because it wasn't released yet. They sold it to me 2 days before it was released.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's
like
a
Gen 2 or something too. You probably got like a better version than what you would have had on the floor model.
yeah, it's a great
Nice.
bench. Their bare steel power bar is fantastic. All of that said, I don't disagree with your assessment. I don't think Kayvon was that too amped to be the owner of a $20 million home gym supplier. But that could also just be him trying not to be, I'm the guy that owns a $20 million. Like he could have just been humble, trying to be humble,
No,
or
makes
even
sense.
exhausted because he also you don't get there by accident, right? So yeah, I don't disagree with your assessment there, but I would say don't let that get in the way of going to a belt. You come up here because it's up here, right? And that we'll come to your gym, then you come up to the Bells of Steel showroom. We'll do a video up here. Steve wants to go because he wants their pillars. So him and I have been planning to go there. He actually left a comment on their Facebook and tagged Massonomics. And Massonomics responded with, "Hey, thanks, Big Steve." And he was just like, so now I'm going to have a bunch of people wondering who the fuck Big Steve is on the Bells of Steel page. So I thought that was pretty funny. So with all of that said, five Massonomics Gym iPod touches.
Nice. And I will prolong this a little bit more. I have seen Bells of Steel stuff at the Arnold and at Home Gym Con. I don't know. I wasn't overwhelmed. It seemed very like kind of right between Titan and below Rep. Way below Rep and then like right on par with Titan, but just like, Canadian Titan, but that's a good market though, because Titan sells a lot of shit. So, but
now they do design in Canada, but they build in China, right? So they're not it's not the strength co of Canada. Let's not confuse that. Right.
Yeah, I've heard Kayvon on other podcasts discuss that, building overseas, and that he's interested in giving people jobs, not necessarily any sort of person from a specific country jobs. That doesn't necessarily bother me. I do tend to, most of my gym was built buying, overseas produced products so that I could actually afford things to start. Yep. And I am slowly transitioning more to, American made products, and that's my goal. But I do like Bells of Steel. I think, Keith, your assessment at the beginning was correct, that it was sort of the Titan of Canada. But I really like a lot of the new products that they are releasing. I think they are moving into a more premium space.
Yep. Yeah. That bench I have, it's wonderful. And, Steve has his bench. He's come up to my house and he was just like, I don't know if I like the fat bench. And he actually ended up really enjoying it. So,
when I'm at Home Gym Con this spring, I'll give a little more of a deep dive into their stuff. And then if anyone else wants to join me at Home Gym Con, go ahead and use code UNPAID to save 10% on your tickets for this year.
And that's really cool. I know you kind of downplayed it in our text thing, but I was like, is that a limited time? Because of course it is. It's a ticket purchase, but like that's really dope. Saving some money off of your ticket. I'm not driving to No French Lick, Indiana any time of the year. And actually, you've been watching Reacher?
Yes, I'm up to date. Yeah,
French Lick is in Reacher.
Did you not? I posted. Oh no, I did not post it to Massonomics. I posted it to my home gym group that I'm in there with, like the guy that created Home Gym Con, and it was the fucking French Lick, fucking Americans, and I literally posted that in. That was really funny.
Yeah, I saw that and thought of Home Gym Con and then of you. That's because good stuff. I think of you and Home Gym Con. So
Yeah, Reacher's definitely one of the best shows on TV right now. If you're not watching it, it's fucking yeah, watch it. Very don't let Tom Cruise like the movies. If you didn't like the Tom Cruise movies, don't let that sway your opinion of watching the Amazon Reacher show. It's especially if you're a book fan, like they're so good. It's such a good show.
Agreed. All right, what's next?
The Massonomics YouTube video from this week. I don't know if it. I know big. Well, yeah. I told Andrew we're going to talk about it, so I think he had a chance to watch it. If not, he can just lie and make something up. But what did you think of Tanner and Tommy react to a 2015, whatever it was, an 8 or 9 year ago video? So 2023 minus 8 or 9 years.
I think one of them was 14. I love it. I love I love seeing them, or I love seeing Tanner like that. Especially because he's changed. He's changed so much, but he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense in terms of his silliness, is still there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was hoping that they would tip into the Qdoba challenge and see him eat those burritos. I still would like to see him as, an almost 40-year-old go into Qdoba now and try to eat 3 burritos. I'd like to see that as a new episode or a new YouTube video. But yeah,
sounds like a upset stomach waiting to happen.
Well, I might do it when I'm there. I don't know. I could do that. But I enjoyed it. It just makes me laugh.
Nice.
It just makes me feel like that sort of stuff like really reminds you of just the crap you did when you were younger, 10 years ago, all the weird stuff you thought when you're going out to the gym and doing things. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were all doing West Side back then, right? Now, would you say that Tanner's deadlift lockout has improved in the last decade? Because he didn't lock out a single one of those fucking deadlifts in that video, and he even acknowledged it. But I was waiting for, is he not going to acknowledge the elephant in the room that he is like soft kneeing, like with like a 20% bend in his knees, all these lifts? I was like, so he definitely called himself out. So kudos to being self-observant on that and giving yourself shit for that. I think my favorite part was when they mentioned they actually made like him holding up the banana, like the thumbnail. And he was like, yeah, when they saw it live for the first time, they're like, oh, this is a meme. Like someone had clipped this little 1 second thing and made it a meme. And I was like, so that was me, but it wasn't even the same video. So there must be multiple like 10-year-old videos with him holding up a banana looking like a dildo. Like, because I had to scroll back like 2,000 pictures to find that from when I screenshotted it like 3 years ago, I think, or 2 years ago. And then I posted it in the thread today too, and I watched it. And it was not the same video. He's wearing a red shirt in one and a black shirt in the other. And the one banana's got a real big bend in it, and the other one's just a straight shaft. So that was hysterical, though.
What's with you and fucking bananas?
Yeah, stop looking at dicks.
No, not Lisa, you. What? I meant Tanner. Like,
oh yeah, I don't.
That's one of the funniest things in Bad Santa was what's with you and fucking sandwiches. Right? Yeah. So what's with you and fucking bananas kind of makes sense to me.
Well, there wasn't a catheter in that banana, so.
Oh, so Keith felt real comfortable staring at it.
To Honkin. Well, I think I don't know if there's, we can probably skip the last one there and talk about it another week if you ever get a chance to see it, because feel like we're going.
I won't get to see it until it. So
yeah,
he wants to talk about the Iron Claw movie.
Whoa. We don't have to.
Oh, okay.
I can't. I haven't seen it. I want to see it. It's in there. I keep staring at it going, fuck, I want to see that movie because I know all about them. So
I haven't seen it either. The only thing I would say, my expert opinion, having not seen this film, is make sure you also watch the WWE documentary on WCCW to get that perspective of the Von Erichs.
And also watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode of the
definitely.
Von Erichs.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah.
I did the Wikipedia deep dive and I was like, oh fuck, but I didn't
it's tragic. And actually, so your next thing is actually also about tragedy in wrestling. So everybody's been joking about what my tattoos are. I haven't posted them on social media. I think only Scott, my wife, and my coworkers have actually seen these. So they say hurt and heal. Um, so Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, had these written on his gloves in this font. And he died back in November. I think we talked about it when it happened. He's 36 years old. He kind of was an inspiration to me in a sense. He brought me back into wrestling after almost a decade away. He was very open and loving to his fellow wrestlers. He brought back horror into wrestling, or weird core we call it, where things weren't exactly scary but they were unsettling, and he brought that into wrestling, and it made me a little more comfortable with my appreciation for that kind of thing. Yeah, and then he just up and disappeared for a while. And then he came back, and then he went away again, and then he died while he was away. And so we had him for a brief time. And I've always wanted a tattoo to kind of, show my love of all the work Wyndham did. His real name was Wyndham Rotunda. He was Erwin R. Scheister's kid. And I've always wanted knuckle tattoos. And so just the hurt and heal kind of came because the Fiend was there as like, yeah, he was a horror villain. He was scary. He was all these things. But at the same time, he was a representation of every decision you've ever made. Every decision it was long-term storytelling. Every decision you've ever made has the possibility to do one or the other, to hurt or to heal, whether it's yourself or the person you're making the decision with or for or against. And the Fiend was this weird concept where that was his role. He would come in and he would essentially reset wrestlers. He reset John Cena, he reset Kane, he reset all of these people back to this character that was more beneficial for them. Because ultimately, your hands are capable of so many things. And when you have to make that decision to hurt or to heal somebody, you need to make the right decision. Neither is wrong, but it's right at the time. So that is officially why I have his tattoos on my hands. And that's the big reveal. I'll post a picture, I guess, on Instagram.
Well, we have this game we like to play. No, that was cool. I enjoyed that. That was I wasn't really sure what you were going to be, and you definitely took it a little more serious goose than we thought. But if I was going to get tattoos on my hands, I'd probably have to have a good reason to do it. So it sounds like you had one.
But also, am I going to punch you with the hurt hand, which is the right hand? Or am I going to punch you with the left hand? And actually, one of my coworkers was like, "Did you get honk on one of them and heal?" So she made the joke before anybody in the crew did. That's the right hands for honking.
It's good stuff.
No, that's cool. Yeah, and I'll agree. I definitely agree in the sense that in a time where actual storytelling has sort of left professional wrestling, he was able to create these long, as you're saying, these long storylines that you were genuinely interested in.
Yeah.
Transitioning, especially, if you remember when they tried to bring him in as Husky Harris, transitioning from some sort of character like that to what he made out of the Fiend, and with the entrance that was sort of reminiscent of had a sort of Undertaker feel to it, but also a Mankind sort of take on it.
But way scarier.
Yeah.
So the Fiend was Bray Wyatt's alter ego, and he came, for those of you guys that don't know, and I encourage you to go watch, there's a good hour-long video. On his first entrance, we had never seen the Fiend do an entrance. We had just seen him attack people. He came in so Bray Wyatt always carried a lantern. because he would light the way. That was his thing. And then he became the Fireflies. Remember, kids, I will always light the way. But then when the Fiend came in, that lantern had Bray Wyatt's head, decapitated head, wrapped around it. In wrestling, because it was the idea that he was the alter ego. He would be the one to kill the nice Bray Wyatt. It was insanity. And it was just, like I said, it did a lot for me. And so hand tattoos are never actually that permanent. These are eventually going to wear away. But I thought for now,
because there's so much, movement in your fingers.
Yeah, it's a high traffic place.
Gotcha. Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Andrew.
Well,
yeah, I would like to have this game we like to play.
Big Andrew, do you want to do a little Massonomics sponsor read for us, my friend? Do you have anything ready for us?
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of that reminds me of something. It reminds me of Massonomics. Yeah. So originally, I was racking my brain. What hasn't been done? Big Jeff had this ad that really harkened to a lot of the older jokes. Big Jen had the best poem, I think, that you could have for Massonomics. And just a couple weeks ago, Big Steve talked about why he supports Tanner and Tommy because of how great they are. And what I wanted to talk about was why you should join Qdoba. Now, if you're listening to this, you probably are Qdoba. You probably listen to Massonomics already. But if not, I think you should join Qdoba. It's $3 a month. It's the best community. Everybody is accepting of each other. We don't get too serious. Everybody stays on Joey's silly spectrum in some way, shape, or form. But I know when I was thinking about joining Qdoba, which I made a big mistake and joined, I think, a couple weeks after the membership cards were sent out.
Mm.
And my whole thing was, I was like Tanner in that open powerlifting shirt, pretty cheap, and didn't know if I wanted to make the commitment. Then I saw it's $3 a month. So for $3 a month, I think that it's worth it. But maybe you are looking for some other financial sort of incentives. So this is a pen to paper situation. I think you'll find out that you cannot afford not to join Qdoba. Perhaps you are thinking about making your first big Massonomics purchase. Well, when you join Qdoba, you receive a discount code. That discount code alone can pay for a month of membership. Heck, you could probably work it out like Big Tron style and get yourself about $350 in return. On top of that, you can get early access to drops, exclusive access to that sweet Massonomics gear. Finally, as Qdoba, you will receive bonus mystery gifts, also exclusive to Qdoba. These gifts are only available to Qdoba joined when sent out. And may I say that one is being prepared right now, and Tanner is slowly and methodically drawing a line in the sand, and I would bet you want to be on the right side of that line when the gifts are sent out. Don't be like, join Qdoba and get that gift. So at this moment, stop what you were. Go to massonomics.com/join and join the Qdoba. I promise we are not rude.
Well, Ryan is.
Well, yeah, everybody except the injured guy. Well done. Well done, Andrew. We appreciate
Well done.
that, buddy.
It might be too late for your family, but it's not too late.
Yeah. When I was going through the back catalog, I remember that being read and then saying Nintendo Tron. And when Tron joined and it said Nintendo Tron, I remember I've heard that before. That was a review. So when he read the review, I was like, it is him.
It might be too late for my family, but it's not too late for yours. Like, who does that? That was good. That was a good ad read, man. That was a good ad read. With that said, let's kick everybody out. Get our guest on the horn.
Sure.
I have a lot I want to talk about.
Good.
All right.
So I'm gonna
All
sit
right.
back and let you take the reins.
Well, no, don't, because it'll go not in the right direction.
Yeah, no.
Big Andrew, is that you?
Yeah, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll let you in.
Yeah.
You're live on the Unpaid and Underrated podcast, the podcast about Massonomics for crew by crew. Let's dive right in. We should dive right in. You guys want to dive right in?
Do it.
Has it been long enough? Or can we dive right in?
I'm surprised we're not diving in right
You
now.
can dive right
Yeah.
in at any point you want.
Right. So let's jump in. What brought you to Massonomics? How did you get here?
It's interesting because I've known of Massonomics since probably 2019. I remember seeing Rookie Card and Versus pop up on Instagram. I remember seeing Basement Brandon in the background, his lift banners, and when I think the first time that Basement Brandon released a banner, it was sold through the Massonomics shop.
It
Mhm.
was 100%.
Yeah,
The bar
Yeah,
don't lie,
so I
one,
went-
right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I went there, and to be honest, I didn't listen to podcasts. I never listened to podcasts. I was an audiobooks guy, so it didn't really resonate with me to look into it. And then around the end of 2021, early 2022, I thought, oh, I started listening to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast. And
Have there been any good guys on that episode? Have there been any really good guests that you've heard over the years on that one?
yeah, my favorite is this guy named Keith, because the first time I saw him on there, he was drinking a ton of beer, and Big Jake's face was just hilarious. And Keith
I was so nervous.
Keith drank a few beers, started throwing out F-bombs about Texas Power Bar not getting their shit together because they can't make a 29 power. And Jake's eyes were like rolling. And he's like, "Come on, Keith." And I like, this is the fucking best right here.
I gotta go back and watch that. That's good
It
stuff.
was hilarious. But anyways, I was like, I'm listening to podcasts now. I should give these guys a try. And I did the thing where I chose certain guests, and I would cherry pick around, and there was a time early on where I was like, I'm just going to go to the guest and listen to them.
Hmm.
And the more and more, I drive a lot, so I can't really skip. And the more and more I started listening to it, I was like, well, I think this is great, because I kind of feel a little bit of a kinship with Joey, in the sense that I don't know a lot of these guests. Like, I don't know who the hell they are. Like,
That's why I couldn't do that. And that's one of the things I always kind of laugh when you guys talk about that. It's like, well, go pick a guest you think you might want to hear from. And I was like, nope. I don't know any of these people. Like, I would have gone to the fucking Gladiator guy. He would have been the only.
Oh, yeah. Worst fucking audio ever. Jesus Christ.
I don't know who these people
Nitro.
are. I don't know who these people are. But then I realized, like, Tanner and Tommy are talking to them, and they're not asking them questions about, like, being tough and doing this shit. They're, like, what's your fat hack? What are you going to eat? I was like, oh, okay, maybe these guys actually are funny. And then I started I remember listening to the first episode after they had gone back to the Arnold, and listening to that episode. I remember starting it thinking, like, is Tommy just talking about, like, them going on a trip? Is this gonna? And then I got home, I was like, gosh, that was entertaining. Those guys are funny. So it was about that time, and I've gone back. I've listened to the back catalog. I've listened to every single one.
Nice.
And I just love it. It's so funny.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that. So if anyone wants to find you, where people are going to find you on Instagram? We'll close with it, obviously, but you're one of those guys that likes having not a name on their Instagram and different stuff to help everybody put the pieces together. They're probably already friends with you on Instagram, but now they're going to know who you are.
Yeah. So my Instagram is Clawtron. CLAWTRON. It's a strange name. I created the Instagram specifically for because I'm really into collecting vintage toys, specifically space toys from the 80s, and that's a space toy from the 80s. It's Clawtron. Okay. So the Instagram was started to I was gonna like take pictures of my vintage toys and put it up there. I haven't taken one picture of a toy and put it up there the whole time. It has just transitioned to me training, and then it's just got to the point where it's like, well, that's the name that I have on there. That's what people know me as, the few people that follow me.
No, that makes sense.
So I'm like, just keep it.
What's your Discord? Is it the same, or is it more your name, just so everyone can find you there too?
Yeah, on Discord, it's Big Garrison Andrew.
Okay.
So it's just my last name before my first, and that kind of just harkens back to when I joined Discord. I didn't realize like how cool the whole crew community was. I was like, oh, I don't know, there might be another Andrew. I don't want to step on their toes or whatever. Because
only one Andrew allowed.
The only other Discord I had been in was what is that? That's the home gym Discord, and that thing was
that's pretty toxic.
Yeah, that thing was just chaos. And I don't hang out there anymore.
Yeah, I'll be a voyeur in there periodically, but I very seldom post anything in there because it's like TikTok. It's just a bunch of young assholes. All right. So I think you already mentioned you're a Southern California guy, right? So
yeah.
Are there any crew out there? Is there any crew out there near you've been able to meet up with or anything?
Yeah, Mofo and I have met up.
Oh, sweet.
A couple times. So I met Mofo.
Sorry. Do you want to go ahead and share his full name and a social security card and pictures of his family and stuff?
It's a fucking guy doesn't exist.
For everyone listening.
He lives in California and doesn't exist.
All I have are pictures of his feet. I'm sorry.
That's all we have. Oh god.
I have his footprint. But yeah, so I met Mofo before he was Crü at a Juggernaut event.
Interesting.
So we were training at this Juggernaut thing, and I was wearing this shirt. He came over and was talking to me, and he's like, yeah, I love Massonomics too. And like, I don't know if I should join Crü, because this fucking guy says, I don't have time to be on Discord. And I say,
he's on Discord more than anybody else.
Yeah. I say to him, well, I'm pretty busy too. I don't get to be on there as much as I would like, but for $3 a month, I feel that I get more entertainment from Massonomics than I do for a lot of other services that I, do pay for. And I feel like that's fine,
Have we ever? I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, it's fine.
I'm doing it on purpose. I hate when people do that. We're like, I don't mean to interrupt. You fucking do. Like, you did it on purpose while I was talking. But like, have we ever? Sorry, somebody did that to me at work today, and it just irked me. They were just. I just have.
Now I'm going to interrupt Joey. Is this interruption going to hurt or heal the podcast?
Oh, just somebody was like, I just have a quick question, and I was like, I'm just helping another person. And they're like, oh yeah, can you just explain everything about your job to me really quickly? And I'm like, what? No. Anyway, have we ever, like, if somebody comes in that doesn't talk very often, like throws a comment in, have any of us been like, where have you been? Where you haven't been very
No.
active. Like, have we ever done
No.
that? Like,
No.
somebody commented today. I didn't even know who they were, but I just started talking to them like they'd always been there. Like, I don't think I even knew who that person was, and I was just like,
We've had a few voyeur. Like, I don't think Big Caden talked that much in Discord. Big Colton doesn't talk a ton in Discord.
Yeah.
I mean, we've definitely, out of the 30 plus guests, like there's at least 5 or 6 of them that have like maybe commented 100 things over the course of their entire existence there. So
yeah,
no, we're not assholes. We're not going to judge people for how limited they are. It's just, we might have to deep dive on the podcast a little harder because we might not know you as well. So
yeah. I like the worst thing I think we've ever said is, "Wow, it sure is active in here." Like that. So sorry, it was just because you were like you were just saying that he just doesn't have the time to be on Discord. Like, just check in once a week for all we care.
Yeah.
We're still gonna welcome you in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know it was the same guy, and then he had made a comment that he was in Southern California. I'm like, oh, I am too. He's like, yeah, we've actually met, and he put up the photo. He sent me the photo of the thing. I was like, oh yeah, like you're like the one person I got along with at this thing. So yeah, so Mofo and I went to see. We saw Big Toby at a strongman event in Coachella. So we met Big Toby there.
He's a big strongman guy too. He's always posting strongman stuff.
Yeah, and Toby's one of those guys that I've had, I've actually had DMs and stuff back and forth with, and I really get along well with him too. I met one of the Davids. Him and I went to the Strength Co turkey pool. So him and his wife showed up, and we had a great time at the turkey pool in November.
The American David.
Yeah, the American David. I haven't met the British David. He was supposed to come to that strongman event, but he didn't. So Mofo did some weird stuff with his shirt there, which I can't disclose.
Oh man. So
No. I don't think I want to hear that story.
Everyone DM Mofo, ask him about his shirt now, because that left. Well, to harken back there too, does that, I mean, that kind of makes sense though, because like the Davids are the same guy, so they really couldn't be at the same place at the same time, right?
Well,
no. Okay, so like I may be confused here. Which one of them shit on the side of the mountain?
British
David.
Toast.
Okay, and that wasn't Big Andrew?
Whoa, which time are you talking about?
And you might have dropped the GPS pin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you jumped ahead. That's a good one.
Yeah, I jumped. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
I knew.
There's a shitting on the side of a mountain story here that
Yeah.
I think it's fucking wild that we can talk about this with more than one person on this podcast.
Yeah. So in one of my attempts to be healthy, I thought that if I just chewed sugar-free gum all the time, I wouldn't get hungry and eat a lot. The fake sugar does not do well with my stomach.
Not. No, that's such a bad idea.
When I'm talking about like all the dumb stuff we may have done a decade ago, this was one of those. My wife and I would go hiking. We'd go hiking this place, Crystal Cove. So it's in Orange County by the coast. You can see the ocean as you're hiking. It's really pretty. And I'm chewing my gum, being very healthy, and suddenly my stomach is just like, uh-oh, this is not good. The problem with this is that this is not out in the middle of nowhere. There are tons of people around. So, we have to like go off on this really not used trail. Maybe it wasn't a trail. We go down, I find a decent spot. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk off here and go. But there's a lot more emergency behind this.
Obviously. You weren't casually pooping.
You don't casually stroll to go shit in the middle of the woods against the tree, surrounded by people.
So, yeah, I have to go take care of business, come back, and realize that in my squatting and whatnot, I had dropped a GPS pinpoint at the exact location that this happened. And
Were you on your phone in the forest?
no, I didn't have. I mean, this was before I had a smartphone. I had a whole handheld
Oh,
GPS.
That you're like playing like Angry Birds and accidentally dropped the GPS.
No, uh no, I have like this handheld GPS, and I come back and I explain to Emily how intense this whole ordeal was, and she's like, "What did you wipe with?" And I was like, "Let's just say that the underwear it was left there."
I know. I'm sorry if that was embarrassing or anything. It's wild that I think more than one of us have that kind of conversation.
I don't. At the time, it was pretty wild, or I was a little bit embarrassed by it, but I, my job, I spend a good amount of time in the field. So there have been a lot more occasions where I'm by myself that are very similar to this, that I've just had no choice.
Except now, hopefully, you have dude wipes with you, and you're not having to go through your underwear.
I'm not prepared, man.
No.
Christ. You think after once is forgiven. What is it?
Yeah.
By the time you're doing it the third time, that's your fault. Whatever the hell the phrase
You
is.
fool me twice, I can't be fooled again.
Yeah.
Now it's good that you brought up your job, because I'm going to get this right out of the way right early. That's the thing I don't want to get into, because I think that's the coolest shit I have ever heard. I have a couple questions about it, but you're an accomplished flint napper?
Yes.
Tell us what that means, because that word would sound threatening.
Yeah, and so
Otherwise.
when you brought up your knife, I thought the only problem with it was that there wasn't a stone blade on that.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
Yeah,
that was strategic.
I'm an archaeologist. My specialty is stone tools and stone tool creation. So flint knapping is the process of creating stone tools. And so I hit rocks together to create arrowheads, blades, knives, what have you. The whole process or reason for learning this is so that I can look at the waste product. So the tool goes away. Whatever culture it is, they take the tool away. All you're left is with the trash. We're archaeologists, we study trash.
And you know what? I will say, and what I almost went into was cultural studies. Same.
Yeah.
Same. You're just studying trash, and that's why I think this is so cool.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like I make the thing. I try to use whatever technology, because there's different technologies used. Whatever technology they would be used, study the debitage, and that's what I did for years and years and years. So that now, when I'm on a project or whatever, and I find a certain type of reduction, technology, oh, this is how they were making it, or this is the economics of it. This tool stone is very abundant. They have lots of it. So they're using a very expedient, quick method of making a tool because they have a lot of it. They don't give a shit. Or, hey, this is obsidian, or this is something from really rare, far away. They're using a different technology. I can tell by what's left here, that they are actually trying to do whatever they can to maintain this tool because it maintains a sharp edge much longer. So that's my specialty in terms of archaeology and why I do the flint knapping. And
that's, to me, that we don't like to talk about work very often, but I was reading through this and I was just like, this is the thing I'm going to have to not nerd out about a little bit. I can say that my one anthropology teacher hated me because I just had so many questions. I wanted to talk about everything. So we're gonna get that out of the way. That's about the
Yeah.
most we're gonna do talking about that one.
That's fine. I love talking about stone tools, flint knapping, all that stuff. I don't like talking about like
Work.
the day to day of work
Yeah.
because
Nobody
it's
wants to
like
know.
it's like any job, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, there's the cool stuff, and then yeah,
Yeah.
We
Then
just
there's
been trying
forms
to,
you have to fill out. Yeah.
yeah.
we just been trying to hit on it more. Like I said, like I want, even if we literally talk about what you do for 30 seconds, I just want everyone to like, I think that's something we got to do. I feel like we missed out on that a lot on the earlier episodes, just kind of glazing over what people even did. And I feel like I've definitely got called out on that from a few times. People saying, I
No,
really want to know more about this person, even if it's just like
I think
the 10,000 foot view.
But
I
even
think
that.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Andrew. You first.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's neat to see the different professions and perspectives that are represented within our community.
Yep.
For sure.
So then I have like a not an FMK, but like a close to it that I think I can get out of the way now because we're talking about work. Okay.
Yeah.
What's most effective? Stone hammer, stone arrowhead, or a stone axe? If you had to make one to be your favorite tool.
What am I doing with this? Am I hunting, killing?
You tell me.
Because there's different applications for
Hunting.
each.
Let's go hunting. Because obviously the
Okay.
stone arrow would make the most sense, right?
Yeah. So let's change. Let's do a stone projectile.
Correct me,
So
please.
so it could be an arrow. It could be a tip of a spear, like an atlatl type spear.
Mhm.
I believe that would be the most effective. If you want it, the goal is to eat, right?
Sure.
So if you want to eat, that would be the most effective.
The spear?
And a spear point,
Okay.
whether it's on an arrow shaft or an atlatl shaft, or because that's going to get you food. A a hammer and an axe, that's going to be good for more close to close, like hand to hand combat. And a lot of the animals that you're going after,
You don't want to be involved in
you
that.
don't want to be close.
But the reason I put those in because I thought that like if you were thinking most effective for just living in that time period, right?
Okay.
Like a hammer and an axe, I think would be eating is important, but so is chopping firewood.
Yeah. Okay.
So is
All right. So living in that period, I would choose the hammer because I use a stone hammer to create points. I use the hammer to create an axe blade. So I use the stone hammer, which will usually be of sandstone or some other like kind of more softer material,
Mhm.
to hit something like chert, obsidian, something that sort of flakes. So the best way to describe it is if you've ever seen a BB hit glass. When you see a BB hit glass, you see that cone there, right? That's the Hertzian cone. So what you're doing is that's the force hitting it and it's spreading out. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting this glass-like material and I'm directing that force to create a sharp edge. So if there's one tool to rule them all, it's your hammer, because that hammer is used to create other tools.
Okay, I think that's kind of why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
good.
got like nerded out a little bit when I was like, he
Mhm.
does what? It's like I need to talk
Yeah.
about this a little bit, but
I think that's cool. I'll deep dive one just so I guess
Heath is like, shut up, you fucking nerds.
No.
You talk about anything else.
That's
No.
okay.
I
That's
want
okay.
to follow. I have a follow up. God damn it! I know my question of posed that way would be like, so out of those three, the hammer, a projectile, and an axe, which one is like when made of stone is superior than made of metal, or most equivalent to when compared to metal?
Well, so metal will be more durable, obviously. stone has a sort of, in terms of projectiles, it has a good part of its brittleness is part of its is a benefit, because as it goes into an animal, it may hit a rib or something and then shatter, and then all those little pieces are in the animal, and as it's moving around, it's each little piece is cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. So in that respect, the stone does have a benefit over the metal, although the metal you could just pull out and reuse. What I will say is that obsidian blades have been shown to be sharper than surgical steel scalpels, and have been used instead of surgical steel scalpels in certain sort of surgeries. So
Have I been
would
saying
say
scalpel wrong my entire life?
No,
I may be saying it wrong.
I think you forgot the word because you
Scalpel.
put him on the spot. Scalpel.
Yeah, scalpel.
Now, how last word question, I promise.
Yeah.
How abundant is obsidian?
Depends on where you are. I mean, in the Great Basin, so Eastern Oregon and anywhere where there's volcanoes, I mean, it's pretty abundant. Down here where I am in Southern California, it's an import type of material.
Mm.
But there are areas like in Eastern Oregon and Nevada where the most common tool type is obsidian.
All right, we're gonna get away from work. I promise. That was like I said, I had so many things I wanted to talk to you about on that one. So, Keith, take over for me for a second. Ask him anything else. Sorry, Andrew.
I want to hear you rant about one thing that you and I probably both have extremely in common. Your wife told us that you're extremely passionate about customer service, and nothing makes you madder than having an experiencing poor customer service. And I can't say kindred spirit more than enough to that, because that's, what instilled that feeling of just like, it's customer service, you should, like, that's your job, like, please be better at it kind of feeling. Where did that come from for you?
All right. I spent 10 years working in a grocery store. I spent 10 years working for Vaughn's, which is a Safeway company. They are currently owned by Albertsons. And when I worked there, we had to do these things called mystery shops, where they'd come in and there was this whole checklist, and, we had to go to these different classes, and, it's like, you don't tell them where the item is. You have to take them over and show them the item. Each check, so the mystery shopper would come in and we'd have this checklist, and if you missed like one thing, that was considered a fail, and you'd get really busted for failing. So anyways, I got this whole thing sort of beat into me, and while I was doing it, I kind of thought, yeah, this is dumb. But I ended up getting really good at it. And I sort of, Joey talks a lot about just doing stuff to make himself laugh, and I would do things with the people like that come in within the guidelines of this shopping experience or whatever, this customer service experience, but that would just to make me laugh. Like, I often would work in stores that were near like older retirement communities, and we'd have these regulars that would come in and ask questions and just be sort of annoying, but the thing is, like, that was their day, right? And so, if a certain annoying person would come in that I just got a kick out of the way that they bother people, I would say, oh, you know what, you should ask Eric over there, and they'd be like, damn it. It would make me laugh. This is a long way of saying that I ended up embracing this sort of idea that it is your job to provide a good customer service experience, to people. And, when I go shopping now, it's like you can't get, I don't know, maybe I'm starting to get really old, but it's like kids these days, it's like they
Yeah.
don't know how to bag a groceries. It's like, have these kids ever gone shopping with their mom and heard their mom complain about the meat put in with the fruit, things like that.
My wife loses her mind every time she sees
Yeah.
that, and she's like, "Motherfuckers!"
My wife just does it on her own. We literally just we tell people don't touch our shit. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's where it comes from. Long way of saying that it comes from my experience working in the grocery store and just expecting people to provide to me the same level that I would provide to them if I was in their shoes, because I have been in their shoes.
I kind of agree. I think that there's an opposite direction. When I'm training people in customer service, I explain to people that nobody actually remembers what you told them. They only remember how they felt while you told them. If you can tell somebody that you can't help them in a way that makes them feel good, you've given them good customer service. And to
Yeah.
me, and to me, like that's the end result. Somebody walks up and goes, "Do you know where this thing is?" But I'm not actually an employee here. I'll just go, "I'm sorry, I don't work here. Let me tell you, if I did shop here, I'll send you over to this direction, blah, blah, blah." And they're not going to go, "That idiot didn't know anything." They're going to go, "Okay, well, he sent me in the right direction. That was nice." That's good customer service, right? But I do think there are bad customers in the world.
Oh, I definitely agree.
And I think that sometimes, I even brought one up earlier. I just have one quick question. Can you explain to me the entire process of what you do while I'm trying to help somebody else? Like, I'm sorry, that's not a quick question. That's actually what we do here. I would love it if you would join our lineup and we will direct you. Well, that's ridiculous. I just had a quick question. And like, there also has to be an internal reflection of people that if you get bad customer service everywhere you go, it's you.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I will say it, like, I'm actually one of the people. I don't get bad customer service, but I'm not a pleasant customer because I'm not a pleasant person. Hey, how's your day? Great, thank you. Oh, well, what do you got planned for later? To pay for this and leave. Like, that's me.
Yeah.
That's not a bad customer service experience, like, to me, because I know that that's just me. I'm not here to talk. I'm here to buy my fucking energy drinks and go home. Like, so.
Oh yeah, I have plenty of stories of I used to have this idea that I really enjoyed it when somebody would come up and they were angry, and no matter what I was able to tell them, they went away and they seemed less,
Yes.
they were better.
I used to be the whisperer of that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have, we talking about the retirement community that would come in. There was this one guy who would come in and always say, "Well, at Ralph's they do this." Ralph's is a Kroger company, At Ralph's they would do this. At Ralph's they would do this. And at one point I said, "At Ralph's, do they treat you better than the way we treat you?" And he says to me, "Yes, they do, Andrew," because he was a regular customer. And I said, "Well, you must treat them a lot better than the way you treat us."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I'm sorry, Andrew. I didn't realize." Yeah,
Yep. And sometimes like I said before, it's that name tag. The name tag seems to make people think they can talk to you in a certain way. And I have had to actually look at people because I don't like bullies. And bullying me is one thing, right? Like, I can deadlift your whole family, like, whatever. Like, I'm not scared of you. But if you threaten one of my guys, right, one of my team, I've always stepped in. And that's when I'd be like, "Look, man, if this isn't the level of service you want, if you're mad that I'm taking too long with this person, do you think I'm going to run through you in 2 minutes?" No, I'm going to be the person that takes the time to make sure you're comfortable and everything we do together is fine. If that's not the level of service you want, there's this place across the road that'll hustle you right through the lineup and give you the fastest service you've ever had. It'll be shit and you won't get what you want. But hey, man, it'll be faster. Good for you. And then I had to write emails to some higher ups. I had to account for that one. I said, feel free to shop anywhere else, man. Like, go ahead. But like, if you don't like the service I'm giving this lady, you're gonna hate the service I'm giving you, right?
Now, Andrew, when in your youth, when you were a stud soccer player, as we've heard,
Stud soccer
I
player.
hear you kind of gave some bad customer service to some of your opponents. You broke 3 fucking guys' legs over the course of your career.
Wait, you played a guy with 3 legs?
Yeah, me.
They like to think they had 3 legs.
Is that factual? Did you fracture some shins, I'm guessing, or some femurs? What'd you do, buddy?
Well, for the record, and I will say the game has gotten quite soft now, but nothing I did ever received a
red flag,
even a yellow card. So they were all legal tackles in the day. One, and this one I do feel bad about. One individual, it was actually a practice, and this is on the coach because it was my own teammate. The coach set up a drill that should not have been set up. It was a tackling drill, and it had been raining. It was muddy, and typical like sort of high school coach, don't be a pussy, don't pull out, don't like go in hard, get stuck in, all that sort of stuff. So
that's what she said times 7.
Yeah.
Wait, but soccer and tackle, what do you mean by tackle? Is that like where you just like kind of like sweep the leg and try to get the ball to go out of bounds? Like I'm so confused on what tackling and soccer mean.
Yeah, so I was the master of the slide tackle. So I would slide in, and as long as you got the ball, you could go through the player.
So you go for the ball as long as your foot hits the ball first.
Yeah. So that's how it used to. Yeah, that's how it used to be. So my favorite thing was to slide in, get the ball, have the dude fall over, and then as he's falling over, I stand up really fast, and then he flips again. That was my absolute favorite thing to do.
Shitty.
But anyways, yeah, the one drill where it was my teammate, I ended up breaking both bones in his leg. And I felt very, very bad about that. That was not a fun experience. The other couple times they were in a game, and that's just part of the game at that time. And I don't feel bad about that. They went into the tackle incorrectly. They just stuck their leg out, didn't get their body behind it, didn't get their weight behind it. And, like if you're going to go in half-ass, like you're going to get hurt.
So you consider yourself a big soccer fan then too? I think your wife said you get up super early to watch some of the games that are on at like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Yeah, I am of certain teams and certain. So I'm a big Liverpool Football Club fan. I like to watch.
Are those the ones that are on steroids, right? Liverpool, Liver King. That was bad.
What? Oh yeah. Liverpool, Liver King.
I didn't know where you were going with
on
that.
Steroids, eat testicles.
It was. I think I heard Liver King in my head. Just
testicles are for pussies or whatever.
Yeah. Real many pussy, not testicles, or.
Yeah, I get up early, but I don't know if that's just like also like I get up early for work, and maybe it's like a dad thing where that's also the time where I can sit in complete silence and darkness and drink my coffee and just like watch something, and that's what I enjoy. Yeah.
Now, do you call it football or do you call it soccer?
I go back and forth. So if I'm speaking to any of my like British friends, I will
not Big David. He's not a friend, is he?
No,
He's a good guy.
We haven't made it that far yet. We'll see.
Gotcha. So it's still soccer to Big David. That's good.
Yeah, but I did grow up playing here, right?
Yeah,
I'm
no, it
I'm
makes sense.
American, like, so like I find it very weird if I'm talking to my good friends that played and stuff to be like, oh, remember when we were playing football? It's like, come on, I mean, we played soccer.
No, it makes
I do,
sense to me.
yeah.
Would you like to play a little fuck, marry, kill soccer players? I tried to pick a handful of pretty famous soccer players and see what you have an opinion on.
Okay.
You ready? So we're gonna go with FMK, Pele, or is that how you pronounce it? I'm assuming. I'm
Pele.
really bad.
Yeah, Pele.
So Pele, Lionel Messi, and Ronaldo. FMK.
Okay. Right off the bat, we're killing Ronaldo.
Okay.
I dislike him. I have always disliked him.
I'm glad we'll
That's
make
not
it
that's not
make it easy for you.
yeah, that's not to say he's not good. He is, but he's such a little bitch. He always has been, and some of that also comes from the fact that he played for Manchester United, which I dislike. But he's just always complaining. So let's deal with the other. Pele. Pele and Messi. Like, it's like
Harking it out.
Messi is
brothers it out. Sorry.
Messi is so good. So good. Pele is like revered as one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. So who am I marrying and who am I kind of one night standing here?
Mm-hmm. You look at it too. How would Pele hold up in today's game? Would he be as competitive, or or was he ahead of his time? Could he hold up? Because he was more like 80s or 70s, wasn't he? Or when was he?
Yeah.
80s.
No, your time periods are not off. I still say I have to marry Pele.
Okay.
Because he did a lot for the sport. Also, I know Messi's doing a lot for the sport in America, coming here and playing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm thinking like Messi's sort of the young hot thing right now, right? So
yeah, but how would they look? How will he be looked upon in 20 years? Kind of.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think he's
yeah. Get your good answers there. So, out of the soccer, so would you say? Okay, so here's another one, kind of a follow up to this. So, favorite soccer player of all time and best soccer player of all time. Two separate answers, if it is two separate answers.
Okay. I think for the best, I probably would have to just stick with Pele.
Okay.
But my favorite, and maybe this is my age, or when I really became aware of what's going on and watching it, is Steven Gerrard from Liverpool. I think he is my favorite player of all time. So he was active from, I think, early 2000s to about 2014 to 2015. Okay. I mean, don't really fact check me on that stuff. But just the way he controlled games in the midfield and the goals that he scored and everything. I always enjoyed watching him play. And then for a few years, he came and played on the LA Galaxy team that's near us, and I got a chance to see him play there. And
oh, that's cool. You can see that's pretty cool that your favorite player, you can actually say like, oh, I saw this dude, like he was probably like 3 years past his prime, or but I still saw this human that I consider my favorite player of all time in person, even if it was like 500 feet away. That's still pretty cool. A lot of people can't say that about their favorite athlete. So that is that's something to kind of something you always remember for sure. So now, if you were tight on funds and you needed to get some really expensive soccer tickets, I hear you have a whole collection of stuff that you kind of sell off every now and then when you need some new funds. You got some. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so I mentioned briefly about my vintage toy collection. So it is heavily focused in vintage Star Wars action figures. I have a lot of them, multiple version, or I have multiples of each one that was released. So I have two or close to two complete collections,
Wow.
and then a bunch of other just sort of random things that are rare, because my collections are primarily loose figures with their weapons. That makes them worth more, a lot more. And but I do have a few that are in the package. So when I decided that I wanted about 500 pounds of strength co-plates, I was thinking about how am I going to get funds.
That's like
I
three
sold,
grand, isn't it? So that's
In a
yeah,
good way.
I sold, what was it, like 6 or 7 figures,
wow.
and now, met Big Grant and got got my strength co-plates.
Do you have seller's remorse of any of those, or were they all duplicates that you,
They,
or even triplicates in your case, possibly?
yeah, some were triples, and then
Okay.
some were things that were in the package that, like, since I had picked up, the price of this stuff has gone up so much. When I was really collecting, it was early 2000s, and things I got for $60 are worth $300 or $400 now.
I really got
There you
to
go.
check out my collection because I have a lot of that shit from the
Yeah.
re-release, right?
Mhm.
Like I have a lot in my gym currently. I have the 12-inch dolls of Luke Skywalker, um, the sand guys whose name is fucking escaping
Tusken
me.
Raiders.
Tusken Raiders and Darth Vader, weapons and all in the package,
Mhm.
opened but still in the package. And
Yeah.
I still have a bunch of little like tiny figurines too. I better take a look at that shit because like they're just sitting
Yeah.
down there collecting dust. And
So is
hey,
that the stuff that was released post 97 that you're
yes,
talking about?
I have
Yeah.
some of those and I have some of the stuff from the 60s.
Okay.
But that shit, I don't know where it is.
Yeah. So the older stuff, there's a lot of money in the older stuff, particularly weapons.
Mhm.
Like, you could sell certain weapons, you could sell for more than if it was with the figure by itself. So
Wow.
it's like there's an Ewok bow that I sold for $350.
Jesus.
Just it's a bow. This, like,
Yeah.
that's, it's
But it completes
um
my collection.
yeah.
I'll
You
pay
know,
for that.
I had extra, and part of the problem is that so many companies make reproduction um weapons now. Having the real thing is what's important to a lot of these people.
Mhm.
And so if you have a real one and can prove it's real, there's the worth. In terms of the later figures, those are starting to pick up in price.
Yep.
They used to not be worth very much at all, but it gets to this point where people become old enough that they remember having them when they were kids. Their mom sold them off. They don't have them now. They want them.
Mhm.
And so you're starting to see people who had those as a kid come of age and have a little bit of discretionary income and want them.
Yeah.
So
Those
they
I
are,
have a lot of because that's when I got into Star Wars because I would have been
yeah.
like a teenager, right?
Mm.
We're not going to go too much into Star Wars because people have said shut up about Star Wars and Star Trek on this podcast. But I mean, talking about the toy worth is probably worth it.
I got a quick Star Wars question. We don't really have to explain it all that much. I just want the answers. Either you can either rank them or just tell me your favorite out of like the current Disney lineup of Star Wars shows. If you know them by heart and want to like rank them in like 90 seconds or less, or just tell us what your favorite one is and why. One or the other.
Favorite. They're all starting to come together, so they're all pretty good. Although, unlike you, Keith, I have not watched Andor yet.
Oh,
Me either.
and how do I
I
click? How do I kick him out of this Zoom call?
I'm watching Echo right now.
Like,
I've looked at Andor and been like,
just
yeah, I don't care.
released,
I'll watch
didn't
Echo.
you know, there
Echo
have been
just came up.
multiple times I have tried to watch Andor and have not.
Oh, man.
Right?
And you know, my younger brother watched the whole thing. He's like, "This is the best one,"
Yeah, I love it.
and I'm like, "Yeah."
Where's the wizards?
I was like, this guy on a podcast I listen to thinks that too, but I can't.
Did you actually say that, or was that?
Yeah,
that makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. All right.
And
I
take
don't know
those
if
glasses off.
Has it been time?
Yeah,
so
buddy,
blue.
it's been over 2 hours. Like, take those off. You're gonna hurt yourself.
I need to bring the real blue. I need to bring the blue. I need to get a second pair of blue blockers because this is horrendous.
Blue blockers.
This is so ugly, and everyone's blue. What the fuck?
Yeah. So to answer your question, and I don't know if it's because it's hi.
You are not blurred too. If you don't recall.
No, I know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just know how.
My wife.
Yes, it was.
I would say, and I don't know if it's because it's new, but Ahsoka really has been my favorite so far.
I didn't like that.
But you know, I've watched the Clone Wars, I've watched Rebels, I've watched all that stuff. So it's continuing her story.
I got into one of them. I think Cesney had me start watching one of them a few months ago, and I think I got like 3 or 4 episodes in of the one that's the prequel. But I'll get back to it. I
loved
so much
Ahsoka.
animated stuff.
I think Ahsoka was, again, I said it very, very many times that like I'll support her everything she does, and her being Ahsoka is fantastic. I still think The Mandalorian season 1 was the best. I still think that it's the thing that started it all. It was the Daredevil of the Star Wars.
And I can't say anything to, discount that opinion either. I mean, I get that sort of perspective.
Yep. Okay. I've been told we're going on 2 hours, pretty close.
What a wonder. I figured you would want to, end this segment with some wrestling talk.
That is where I'm going with this. I've been told you like wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and earlier you mentioned you jumped in with my Bray Wyatt talk, so I think that it's time, finally, that I get to talk to somebody about wrestling on this. I'm not going to ask too much. I'm not going to go into like kayfabe or Carney talk. I'm just going to ask some base level stuff.
Okay.
I have 2 Mount Rushmores that I want you to go through with me.
Okay, let's be careful because we don't want to tread on my question for you. But
we might.
Okay,
let's find out. Okay. So Mount Rushmore of Attitude Era wrestling.
Attitude Era wrestlers.
Druthers are allowed.
Are we just since we're saying Attitude Era, are we just going with WWE, or are we going Monday Night War type?
We're going Monday Night War. I didn't want to say Monday Night War because that might have been too niche. So when I say Attitude Era, I mean everybody involved with making wrestling as famous as it was at the time.
Man, I was at Royal Rumble 1999 during the I Quit match between The Rock and
Mankind.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're not. So I'm well aware of this.
Yeah. So I'll change it from Attitude Era to Monday Night War.
Monday Night Wars, because that makes it more difficult.
That's the goal here. Make it hard.
So I'm going to go with. You have to go with Stone Cold. You got to go with Stone Cold, and I think you have to go with The Rock. I
might disagree. Okay. Right.
Okay. Well,
no, it's your Mount Rushmore.
I love The Rock.
Who doesn't?
But The Rock and Stone Cold, their feuds, first for the Intercontinental Champion, then for the WWF Championship. They were epic. So I want to have them both in here.
Okay. I'm in.
Now, and maybe this is just like a sort of like just a pick because I just like him is Scott Hall. I just like him.
Nice.
I just love.
Oh
I
no,
just love.
absolutely. The Outsiders. There wouldn't have been a Monday Night War without the Outsiders.
Yeah.
You don't have to justify that pick at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the explanation because that's what druthers are for. But
yeah, I love Scott Hall. He has that mix of humor and toughness that I really enjoy. So then I get one more. I kind of want to go for a comedy pick, but it's Mount Rushmore. Who was instrumental?
it could even be just who did you like watching? Because I think I would know who to throw in if it were me doing this. So, like, who did you just want to watch? Like, who did you tune in? It doesn't matter if they like if we fucking Scotty Too Hottie for all I care. Who is it like somebody that like you were like, no, I want to see what they're up to.
All right.
You're allowed to do that too.
You like that Rikishi ass.
My pick there is Val Venus.
Hell yes, from
Val Venus,
Scarborough, Canada, right up the road.
Val Venus was hilarious. His gimmick was unbelievable.
Yeah,
can't do that nowadays. And he's a really good wrestler. He
was actually really good. Yeah,
he was really good wrestler. And like to this day, my best friend Greg will send like Val Venus stuff to my brother and I. It's just hilarious.
Did he ever transition back into when WWE bought everything in like 01 or whatever? Did he ever actually go back? Was he ever on WWE? I just remember him from WCW. He was always WWE.
Never WCW.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know why.
WWE, and then he was Val Venus. Then he was in Right to Censor, so he became like less of this like porn star and like more. Wasn't it? Yeah, and then he was in TNA for like 2 episodes or something.
Yeah.
When Hogan came into TNA and was gonna like make TNA like reignite the Monday Night Wars, but something happened with like tapings or something, and I think his name's Scott Morley. He couldn't do it anymore, so he was there for like 3 episodes and then quit. Like,
yeah, he ended up coming back, I think, a little bit, but I don't think anything worth.
Yeah, I remember he had the most like awkward intro. Like it was so like as like a 13-year-old or a 12, probably like 11-year-old. Honestly, it was like, oh wow, that is like he's just pretending he's a porn star. That's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. That was definitely over the top. That's
It wasn't as bad as The Godfather though, coming out with his host.
The Ho Train.
The Ho Train. Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so that would lead up to the next question, and this one's a bit. Am I coming through like echoey?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think you're okay.
The Mount Rushmore of current wrestlers. So I don't know how much you've been paying attention currently, because I think that there's a lot going on between AEW and TNA and ROH, and like there's so many incestuous relationships in wrestling right now where these guys are jumping back and forth, blah blah blah. Who are you paying attention to now? And I love this stuff. I wish we could talk about wrestling. I would have a whole thing. I think that they talked about wrestling for like 30 seconds on one of the episodes 2 weeks ago, where they talked about Triple H's entrance or something like that. And then I was just like, you fucks. Like I could have been on this. They kept
I was so actively Googling what people's finishing moves were because they couldn't remember the names of
I was just like marking out, and I was like, I have all these answers. So it's fun that I get to talk to somebody that actually kind of might care about wrestling a little bit. So Mount Rushmore of current wrestlers. Now that doesn't have to be today. I'll say I will open this up for you for the PG era.
Okay. Yeah, I watch pay-per-view, and now it's probably like the big pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I
stopped watching when Bray died. Like, I will be honest, I haven't watched a single full episode of wrestling since he went away. Yeah. But I watch the highlight reels, and I'm going to watch Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's the best. Yeah. Because it's when you get all the swerves and all the surprises. But like, is there anybody you care about right now?
I like I like Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Cody Rhodes. I think that he, I've been watching him since he was, what was it? He was like that Stardust type character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to
The
see,
mustache before that, he was the
yeah,
nerd,
and
the intellectual before that.
yeah, and he came out. There was a time when he would come out and like he had like give like people bags, or he would have a bag on his head or something. Like he didn't want people to see him. Uh, so I like Cody Rhodes. I'm trying to think of who else really captures my attention. Uh, I like what they're doing with, damn, I can't remember his name, but like Rey Mysterio's son right now. Where he talks about how he
Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic, how he spent time in jail or something,
Is he the same stature as his dad? Like just like
No, he's much
5'3"?
bigger.
He's
Okay.
bigger. Yeah, he's bigger.
If there is a villain a heel better than Dominic Mysterio right now, it's MJF. Okay. And nobody else. Like that dude, like kids spit on him, Dominic Mysterio. He's so hated
Yeah.
and he's so good at it. It's almost uncanny. You'd have to try harder, right? I think the last great villain was Triple H, Roddy Piper, and Dominic fucking Mysterio. He's so good at being hated. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. I like Bailey, but she hasn't done all that much lately.
Yeah, she's.
I liked her maybe 5 or 6 years ago when she was having those feuds in NXT. I don't know. I think that's
All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes these are a hit, sometimes these are a miss. I don't know how much you know, what you know, or how much you're paying attention.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to talk to anybody about wrestling. Some home gym equipment where I tune out a bit. Now it's time to talk about wrestling.
I randomly caught a Shawn Michaels. It just popped up on YouTube. It was like, do you want to watch an hour and a half documentary on Shawn Michaels? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Fucking right, I do.
It was like I watched the whole fucking thing, and I was like, oh, I remember a lot of this, and then like I didn't know about his drug addiction and shit, and like going away for 5 years and then coming back and having like a great match, and I guess I didn't realize when he did kind of come back, he literally lost like. At least every match they showed, he lost like every match in the last 5 years that he was there. But he put like great performances on and just kind of helped put people over. So that was cool.
It's because when he was big, he was an asshole.
Yeah,
and he had to atone. He had to pay those receipts to get back into the business for people to want to work with him again. He was when he was at the top of his game, and I'm going to talk about Heartbreak Kid right about the X era. He was one of the most hated people in the locker rooms. But at the time, because he was one of the biggest names in the locker rooms, you didn't have guys that could kick him out. Like you currently have guys you currently have guys like Roman Reigns, you have guys like The Undertaker. You've always had these what we call locker room generals, locker room big dogs, where if somebody's acting up, you could fucking boot them. Right? But because Shawn Michaels was so protected, nobody could boot him. Right? And that was a big problem. So when he did go away and then came back, he didn't come into a locker room of people like, yeah, we love you, come back. He came back into a locker room of people like, don't do what you did before. Like you made us all not comfortable. And because wrestling is such a tight-knit community that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, it was crazy when they said like him and Triple H and he couldn't remember if it had been like a year or 2 years they didn't talk to fucking Triple H. I was like, that's so like I don't know. I guess I've never
fucking wild.
Right? Been, I've never had a drug addiction problem, so I guess I can't really. You don't really when people are remembering shit that happened when they were dealing with drug addiction. I guess it does make more sense of how they just like shit just gets blurred and like when they're recounting stuff and it's just all like. How do you not remember like slightly more specific? You're just giving like vague memories. You don't have actually specifics. It's like, oh, because you were in a drunken fucking, pill-induced stupor for fucking 20 years.
And in an industry where your entire job is to beat up your body consistently for hours and hours and hours. So moving on from wrestling for now, because I got the feeling it's going to come up again later, we have another fucking brand new affiliate.
We do. So we try not to, I'll talk about this one pretty in depth the first time, and then from there, we'll see. I obviously don't want to, come in your guys' ears too hard about all these affiliates. Just
We
use
get
them.
we get a lot. Like it's kind of getting.
I got solicited
me,
for 2 separate ones today, and I wasn't going to turn them down. But
I
don't
said to
necessarily
Morgan
want to talk
today, I
about
was
them
like,
every day.
this is fucking out of hand that how many
Yeah.
people want to like jump in and join us. But at the same time, I think it's a reflection of what we're doing, how we're doing, and the people that stand behind what we're doing. So tell them, because I have no clue who this is. Never heard of them. Don't know who they are. Go.
But at the end of the day, though, Massonomics is the only paying sponsor, so make sure you give them all the kudos. And if you get the opportunity to use any of our affiliates, they are all code unpaid and save you anywhere between 5 and 10% off. We will appreciate that. So my good friend Ashton at Freedom Fitness Equipment reached out to me and wanted to see if we wanted to set up an affiliate link, and was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So he is a gym equipment distributor out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He does a lot of commercial stuff as far as like he'll resell and refurbish a lot of like commercial cardio equipment, and then has a bunch of new stock equipment that he sells. So I mean, he does do free pickup if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, but he also ships stuff nationwide. So basically, his little spiel he wanted me to read here for you guys is, okay, tired of paying stupid prices for gym equipment you're going to use and abuse anyway? You need to get hella swole without selling a second kidney? I got good news. Look no farther than Freedom Fitness Equipment, the best place to find steals on new and used fitness equipment. Give your gym a facelift and stay big with code UNPAID. And that's freedomfitnessequipment.com. Save 5%, it looks like.
I mean, that's pretty dope. Right? That's our first equipment affiliate. So
stoked.
I'm in. Use it up if you're gonna. I spent some time on the website today, and I didn't really get anything, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy. I mean, I've seen him on other podcasts with Keith.
He's very big in the industry. Like he gives back as far as like he's always on. He's got his own. He puts out a lot of his own content, but he's also helps out with a lot of the other guys. Like I've done a couple different, I think at least 1 or 2 different podcasts with him on like round tables with the Garage Gym Experiment. So I've already had a rapport with him. I met him at Home Gym Con. Save 10% on code unpaid. Come hang out with me and Ashton. And I want to say the current Home Gym Con crew count that I know of is going to be me, Joey, not our Joey, another Joey, in the home gym community. Joey E. I can't ever pronounce his last name. Carp, probably. I think Carp's coming.
Cool.
He's working on it. And Hurt Locker is technically crew, not super active, but he is a supporting member.
That's dope.
And then Big Chris from BeltFed, who is who's a new crew. If anyone's not familiar with him, he's basically like, if you're going to buy a belt for powerlifting, I always tell people to go to Pioneer. If you don't want Pioneer, go to Chris at BeltFed. BeltFed is like no. I'm saying like those are the only 2 belts that I would recommend. I don't tell people to go buy a fucking Inzer belt, and don't go buy an IPF belt or an SBD belt unless you need to compete in IPF. So like I like Pioneer just because it's all I've ever worn. But I met Chris and his wife at Home Gym Con. They're really fucking dope people, and he just recently joined crew as of like this week, I think. So possibly a future guest if he sticks around and wants to be on the podcast. But sorry to harken back. Freedom Fitness Equipment, code unpaid.
I'll add to Big Carp had a giveaway for BeltFed, some handles. I won that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was pretty sweet, and Chris hounded me for my unboxing video, so I had to put it out there. I like them. I still owe Big Carp some video of me using the handles. Got sick just after I got them, but they're super cool. Yeah, I like BeltFed string.
So I think it's about time. I think we've had enough affiliate ads.
Yeah, I'm good for the week.
To jump. I'm jumping.
Sorry, Kim. We'll get to you next week. Barber Rescue, code unpaid. That's it for this week.
Oh yeah, I got mine. Oh, I love it. I love it so
Oh,
much.
okay.
It
Well, yeah, we
takes
have to talk about it then.
it
Give
takes
me
some
like a
getting used to. Do you have one, Andrew? The
I
barbell
don't. I
rescue?
that is something I really want one.
Yeah, it's one of those things
Yeah.
that just like it's like, well, I don't need one of those. And then I get one and I'm like, how did I ever survive without this?
for real.
Yeah, for real. And like now that I have multiple barbells because I'm a nightmare of a human and you know, taking a bad advice from Keith. And
Just
but
can't have too
like
many barbells.
it is perfect. It's a circular brush that you just over your and it's clean. And it's a weird I didn't have one before. It's just one of those like it's almost like a drink spotter. It's a bit
Mm.
like a drink spotter where you look at it and you go, I don't need one of those. Then you get one and you go, how did I never have one of these? So barbell rescue it's up there with the weird niche stuff for home gym owners, even commercial gym owners, because I've seen them at some of my meets. That you
Mhm.
should definitely get your hands on one of those. And if you want to save $5, use code unpaid. That'll pay for half your shipping, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm pretty content. I think we're definitely over the 2 hour mark now, so that is the perfect time to get into a little unpaid or underrated. Big Andrew Garrison, you are familiar with this game, I hope, but do you want to explain it to the listeners of how you play unpaid or underrated?
I have my druthers. I can't ride two asses with one horse or whatever, as you
Oh,
have put it.
I'll never get that right, and now I'm not gonna learn just for the spite of fuck
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
I'm never
No,
gonna say it right.
no line riding.
All right.
Unpaid here is technically overrated because no one
Sure.
wants to be unpaid. So,
It sounds like you've listened to an episode or two because that's you're paraphrasing Big Keith a little bit there. I
oh
like it.
yeah, I've listened to every episode.
I love it. I love it. Now, did you when you did listen, have you been like you listened to every episode from the very beginning and listen when they come out, or you kind of like got behind a little bit and then had to binge a couple because you knew you were going to be a guest? Or
No, every Tuesday.
love it. I love it.
Yeah. So when you guys were talking about starting the podcast in Discord, I I really wanted to throw my hat in there and be like, oh yeah, I want to be I can help and be part of it, but I just I don't have the time, and that's why
Me neither,
that's
but
that's why every chance I get, I try to make it known like how much I appreciate the amount of time you guys put into this because I know it's a lot.
well, you know what'll really help is if you go ahead and order a barbell rescue brush and use code unpaid.
There you go.
Okay,
I'll
so
talk to my wife about it, see if I can.
my wife.
Yeah.
All right. So unpaid or underrated for Big Andrew. My number one question will be labor unions. What do you think about labor unions?
Ooh.
Is working in a grocery store that had gone on strike a time or two. You're kind of familiar with this situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Political realm.
Yeah. It's kind of political.
Okay, so yeah, well
Uh,
then that's true. I honestly didn't think about that. So don't give me. I don't want your druthers. Then just give me unpaid or underrated, unless you can keep it a non-political. That's a good call.
We love whatever works for you.
Yeah.
I will say the Southern California United Food Commercial Workers Union.
Holy fuck. What's that acronym?
Yeah, it's UF. It's UF. I think it's like
You F yourself.
UFCW or something. Like it looks like a wrestling fed.
Is this a
Like
wrestling
It kind of sounds like the Weird
yeah.
Al movie.
UHF
You
or
you
something?
Keith's not a fan of that, so
No, we know.
um
He has his faults.
so I
A
will say
couple of 'em.
specifically the grocery store union
That
here
works.
is unpaid because yeah, we were on strike for 6 months, and like I don't want to get into all the political stuff about it, and people have their issues with unions, and I don't necessarily think unions are bad, but the one I was in, I would say is unpaid because I don't think that they tried very hard to find a good solution in a timely manner for us when people their houses and stuff. I was in college. It was a different time for me, but there were people that this was their career and they needed to get back.
Oh, it makes sense. And good catch on. We don't want to get too political because I am the biggest don't fucking talk about politics guy on the podcast. I don't register. It's funny that I didn't register that was like a political kind of thing. I just
Yeah.
didn't piece it together. So, number 2 for me, I'm gonna go with one of the ones. Okay. If you don't know what this one is or aren't familiar with it, I'll go to my second one, which is of the similar vein. So, unpaid or underrated, the TV show Welcome to Wrexham.
I have not watched it.
Okay, so then how about the Wrexham Football Club?
I'm going to say it's unpaid, and I'll tell you why. Because, yeah, they're this lower division team. They're non-league, and that's cool. You know, if it's your local club, so people of Wrexham, it's probably underrated because you know you have all this stuff. But just because you have some money behind it, you know, now you have all of these people in America. They're like, yeah, Wrexham, you know, whatever, that are all into it. Just like it's unpaid. Like they're not they weren't supporters of this team before. They're just supporters now because it's a popular thing. And I think that's the definition of unpaid.
That makes sense. For the clarity, like I really like the show. My wife got into it. She really likes Ryan Reynolds and the other dude, like Rob McEnelly.
McElhenney.
I love Mac.
Something.
I love Mac.
Yeah.
He's one of the funniest guys I think there is. But
I think the show is great.
Yeah.
I don't really. I could take or leave the soccer club, but
Yeah.
the show itself, their banter back and forth, and how they keep fucking with each other on their birthdays. They give them this most outlandish gift that's just super embarrassing and like kind of detrimental to them, kind of thing, like to the other person. It's just really funny.
So I
Like
guess this is going to show my ignorance. What do you watch it on? Like I don't even know what service it's on.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. I think I have it on Crave up here.
I'm pretty sure it's Hulu. Like
yeah, Crave and Hulu makes sense. Yeah,
no, it's an FX. I think it's an FXX show, but
I
have it. We have. I can log in through my buddy's Spectrum on FX, and then we have Hulu. So whichever one it hits first. But very enjoyable. I really like it. I think it's I think it's great.
I probably would like the show.
Yeah, I think that's why regardless of your opinions of the Rex and the club, I think you'd like the show because I would assume like anything soccer you probably consume and kind of enjoy. So that'll go into my next one and my last one. I'm gonna go with unpaid or underrated.
You're doing 4? Hit me up.
No, the other one I crossed out when you were in the bathroom was something we talked about earlier.
Oh, I went to the bathroom, everybody.
Yep. Joey went and took a.
This is fucking 4th time this podcast. I have the bladder of a pregnant elderly woman. Like
no, I've only asked 3. That's just the bagging meat with non-meat products we already covered. So I crossed it out already. So for my last one here, Ted Lasso. I hope you've at least seen this one. If you haven't seen this one, it's like, what the fuck? Come on.
That's tough because I wasn't too much of a fan of the last season.
The last season was hurried. It was not a great season.
But I'm gonna take the whole the thing as a whole.
Yeah, the first season was a fucking 10.
Yep.
But then again, it's not whether I like or dislike something. You know, because I do feel that there's a lot of people that just like it because it's popular.
Well, it's your perspective of it compared to their perspective of it.
Yeah. I think it's under. I really do. And
I agree.
Agree.
Some of this also comes from like he did that. I think he did that on SNL like way back when. Like it was an American it was an American coach comes to England. Like it was either a skit there or something. Like it was done like years ago, and then to see it, and I think he shopped it around as a show, and nobody really picked it up until Apple did. and then to see it come to fruition, it's like it was a really good show. It was, and I don't care. It's underrated.
Absolutely. I think most people that watch it agree with that. So cool beans. Hand the baton to my co-host.
I think Ted Lasso was one of the first shows in a long time to make me fucking cry watching it. And it was when particularly his wife showed up and he kind of came to terms with the divorce right there in front of all of us. I fucking teared up. I'm not afraid to admit it. You know, Macho Man says the Macho Man will cry today, tomorrow, and 1,000 more times. But the thing is, you got to keep up and keep going on. And honestly, that's what that episode was. It was pretty incredible. So yeah, huge fan of Ted Lasso. So I'm gonna ask some completely unrelated shit. I added these two, and then there's one on here that I don't know why it's on here. So I'm assuming Keith added it. You added that one, right?
The top one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's relevant for
Yo,
something that
all
someone
right.
told me.
Should I save it to last?
It should be funny, I guess.
All right.
I think he has a strong opinion about it.
Unpaid or underrated, lifting in jeans.
Depends on the jeans, but I'm gonna just go overall underrated.
You know what? Those rascal jeans.
Yeah,
Oh no, not the rascal jeans. Well, that's what
I know.
That's what the whole that was the point of that post was. I got those jeans at, well, maybe at Costco. I got those jeans. They are the Urban Star jeans at Costco. They're like they're $12.
$12.
It's like I'm not going to spend $40 or anything above that on pants. I'm cheap. They're not, well, I'll make an exception for lift shorts, okay? But when it comes like I've always been bigger, and my jeans have always kind of split in the crotch. Mm-hmm. So why am I going to spend $60 on pants that are only going to last me for a few months? So, those kind of spandexy jeans that I got at Costco, they're $12, and I bought them through Costco.com. And when you add a certain number of garments, you get a certain amount off. So I ended up getting something like 10 pairs of pants for like $9 or $10 or something. And I can squat in them.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. So rascals out here selling their pants for $60, $70 or whatever the hell they are. It's like, this is probably the same shit, just rebranded. Or like, I don't know,
I have the most expensive pair of pants I own. I don't think I've ever talked about this in the podcast. I bought at the Arnold because I have to wear dress pants at work. So I bought some bodybuilder dress pants. And I'm not going to get into how...
I saw those there, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like suits and shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will fucking tell you, those accentuate every muscle you got. But they are not cheap. I'll never buy another pair again. Not going to name the company because, like, actually, I've already started tearing the seams, which is interesting because the waist doesn't fit, but my quads are blasting through them. So, like, what bodybuilder is this built for? Right? Even the waist doesn't fit, but the quads don't. Like, so, but yeah, it gets out there. These clothing companies, unless they're putting lift symbols on them, they're overcharging you. Okay, I'm going to go with the next one. Hey, you like rocks? Do you like lifting rocks? Unpaid or underrated? Because I heard you got a whole gym full of boxes of rocks.
I have tons of rocks.
Yeah, I bet. Again, so fucking exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, I think underrated. Underrated, definitely. I love natural stone lifting. I think that was like one of the first interactions that Joey, you and I had was.
Yep, you tagged me in a post, and you said, I think you just started. It had to be episode 1 to 3, and you said something like, "Well, it was like the first time I felt like an influencer, I guess." But you said something like, "He's right. Why don't I?" And you just went and lifted some rocks, like in your backyard or something, right? So
So I lifted one, and Joey, you may not remember, you commented rocks
rocks,
on
just
it.
yeah, rocks.
And so yeah, so the next time I lifted one, I was like, Joey needs to see this. And then it was like, yeah, I think it was the first or second episode you had, it was like in between there, you had started talking about like, man, like I see rocks on the side of the road and I want to go lift them and
Still to this day,
all
yeah.
this stuff. And it's like, yeah. And my mother-in-law, they bought a house down here, and I was looking through their yard. I was like, you got a really cool rock in is it okay if I take that? And she was like, yeah, why is it special? I was like, well, it's about 130 pounds and I want it.
Yeah. It's such a weird yeah. It's such a weird concept that like I want to lift that. There's a rock. It looks really heavy. Can I just lift that? And everybody around you is like, what's wrong with you?
Well,
But like, I just want to lift it. I just want to see how heavy it is. Can I lift it?
yeah, like even this week, I don't get to be in the field all that much anymore. I write a lot of reports, but I've been in the field this week, and there's been a lot of big rocks. So, a lot of it's like construction workers are doing stuff and looking for things. I started moving some of these big rocks out of the way, and one of the excavator operators like, "You're strong," and I was like, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah.
Like,
But it was in my way though, so I just had to move it.
yeah,
You
like
don't have a tractor for that. No, you took too long, so I did it.
yeah, yeah. It's like he's got this excavator, and I'm like, you know what? Instead of
Yeah.
using the bucket to scoop this up, I'm gonna lift it and throw it into there for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I've got goals to hit. I'm gonna do this
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, it's funny because like my dad built this entire garden in our front yard before I ever even moved up here. And it's just full of these rocks. And I finally just spotted the one day, and I was just like, I want that rock. And even he was like, that's like a granite rock. Like that's not like a normal rock. That rock is heavier and denser than it looks. And I was like, good. That's the one I want. And he goes, when I got that, we had to have 2 people help me up into the pickup truck. And I was like, yeah, that's the one I want. And I carried it to the backyard and like laid down and cried. It was so fucking heavy. And I was like, yeah, I chose the right one. This is the guy. This is the guy. So I'm glad that one actually panned out. Because I
Oh
was
yeah,
just like,
definitely.
does he like lifting rocks? I don't know. He
Oh,
has a garage
definitely.
full of rocks.
And then before we knew that Big Hot was behind the Orange Glaze, he had that post about Crü lifting rocks, and I was like, I'm surely gonna be in this one because I lifted rocks and I didn't show up. I was like, oh, I mean, I didn't know it was Big Hot that was behind it. I thought it was somebody else. That's a whole other story. How
I think everyone was wrong on that one. So maybe
yeah, it's
it was
another
like
thing
2
about
people.
like how scared I made myself that I had convinced myself it was this other person that uh I had messaged the Orange Glaze and said, I am sure you were this person. It was like, no, you're wrong, but keep trying or something. I was like, damn it.
He's
I
so
was,
nice.
and I was somewhat relieved because I didn't really want to know. But anyways,
None of us did.
there was that post. I was like, damn it. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going out in my garage. I'm lifting this rock right now. And the rock is the one I took from my mother-in-law's garden. And I was like, I was inspired by Orange Glaze's post and like lifted the rock. And
What's an orange glaze, son?
yeah. And Big Hot like graced me with a video of my own lifting that rock, which was not my intention. I was just like, man, I wanted to be in with the other crew lifting rocks.
Okay. This is the last one. I don't know why it's on here. I assume it's relevant. Let's hope that this goes somewhere. Unpaid or underrated. Pam Beesly.
Pam Beasley. I bet my little brother put that on there because Pam Beasley. So she's from the American Office. I don't know. Keith
Mhm.
probably doesn't know who she
No,
is.
I absolutely know who it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's
Um,
me. It's me. I don't watch The Office.
okay. So she's from the American Office. She is the worst.
Mhm.
Everybody, she was the one where it's like, Jim was after her and she was dating Roy from the warehouse and you really wanted her and Jim to get together. And then they did, but then Pam had this issue. She went to art school and then was a failure at that, couldn't finish that, just like she failed at her relationship with Roy in the warehouse. Um and uh so she comes back and then you know Jim wants to go off and like make a better life for his family, her and everybody, by starting this new being part of this new company. And she's giving him shit all the time about it. She's just the worst. She's the villain of The Office.
I can see
uh
that. Actually, I can see that
yeah.
from what I have
So
watched.
yeah, so you start out thinking Michael Scott is the bad guy.
No, he's just stupid.
He's just stupid. He's that like kind of lovable stupid. Pam Beasley is unpaid. She is the worst, and everybody would probably have been better off in The Office if. And the fact
Wow.
and the
So
fact
glad we
that
asked this.
and the fact that her, for some reason, and this is the other thing that really grinds the knurling off my Texas Power Bar. Uh, they switch her mom for some reason in the seasons. It's like one season it's one lady is her mom, and then the next season if there's a different lady that's her mom. It's like, come on, like continuity, folks.
Yeah, that always
Like
bugged me. Did you enjoy when Michael banged her mom though? Because like she was so devastated and pissed off by it. Did you get a little like redemption of like, haha, fuck you, you got it, what was coming to you kind of thing, or
that that was pretty
yeah,
funny.
see, I
but
thought
but
you'd
I
like that.
yeah, but I did dislike that it was a different mom than the first time they
Gotcha.
showed her.
Ultimately, this show sounds like it sucks. So, yeah.
I love the show. I I think it's
Uh,
hilarious. I mean, my wife and I we used to play this game like Office Roulette, where we wanted to watch Office. We didn't care what episode, and we just close our eyes and scroll one way, scroll the other way, scroll and click OK, and then whatever
that's funny.
episode showed up, we would watch, and we would just really enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you can do that more with Office than a lot of other comedies too. Like I don't think the Office
Now
has that thing.
do that with Letterkenny. You'll have way
Yeah,
more success.
it's true. Yeah, Letterkenny has like almost no continuity. Like
Correct.
all right. Well, that brings it to an end. I think you got you passed. That is, as Joey likes to say, you did pass. Couple cool beans, and we'll hand it over to you. If you got anything for us, buddy.
Yeah, so I think Joey knows where I'm going, so I'm going to start with you, Keith. I have a question for each of you, which I think will garner some sort of discussion, and then maybe something that's a little bit serious, Goose, that may just end up being a comment. I don't know. So for you, Keith,
What you got?
um, so uh, in your putting together your vintage weight collection, when you were doing this, I'm thinking back to some of the stories I hear from like Big Rob on his Vintage Weights uh, podcast. Uh, some of the older episodes of Massonomics where Tanner and Tyler actually would go pick up. Do you have any like interesting stories about like houses you went into to collect these weights, or just an experience of like buying
So I've
some
been
of?
I've been all over the Northeast buying shit, man. It's been great. I put a lot of time behind steering wheels to go get stuff. I met a dude, like I was working in Albany. So I was like, I live in Rochester. I was working like 3 hours. Like I was staying in a hotel for my company, like 3 hours away from here. And then from there, I was able to meet up with someone that was another like 2.5, 3 hours away, I think. Like, and it was either Connecticut or Rhode Island. I don't remember which one. And I just met him at like, I think he even drove like an hour to meet me too, because it was like I had such a long drive. And it was like the dead of winter. And we're just shooting the shit about vintage weights. Like in like a 20-degree parking lot for like a half hour, just freezing our asses off. But like it was like you found that kindred spirit. Now that was one of the first times I actually bought something off another collector, kind of, and wasn't just like as people call it, like I didn't find it in the wild. Like I mean, it was going rate, but it was like a premium. So it wasn't like all the times where I like would get shit at like 20 cents a pound and be like, oh well, that's definitely worth like 10 times that or whatever. But just being able to actually talk to another human in person. This would have been like 2016 or maybe something like that. So it was like, a long time ago before like it was pre any of the Facebook groups, and like all there was like the bodybuilding forum, which was just like you had to fucking jump through hoops to even like be able to create an account to be able to talk to other people. So like I had like minimal to no communication with other collectors at the time. So being one of the first dudes actually just talked to for like a half hour about like gym equipment, like about specifically, I bought, I think I bought two or three pairs of round heads that were like, the bigger ones. It was like ones I needed. Um, I might have even had to buy like more. I think I had to buy like four. I might have even had to buy multiple pairs, but I only needed like half of them. The other ones were duplicates that I did turn around and sell. But just talking to him, and I think he told me he had like 4 or 5 pairs of deep dish at the time, and I was like at the time I was like, oh, I didn't have any deep dish, and then now I'm up to 5 pairs myself, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as far as like the best deals I've ever got, like I've paid fucking like 50 cents a pound for deep dish plates before that go for $1,000 a pair. Like that's pretty fucking cool. But a lot of those didn't really have good stories because we're just buying off people that didn't really know what they had. Every now and then, I did I bought a lot of my milled plates. I bought off this old dude locally, like super old, and I ended up like saving his number, and I would like call him like once a year. Actually, I think I had his nephew's number because he was like so old that he wouldn't like text or anything. So I think he gave me his nephew's number. So I would text him once a year over the course of like 5 years to be like, it is so and so ready to let go of any more stuff because he was just downsizing his gym as he got older. It was really sad because like the guy was like a widower, and he would always talk about his fucking deceased wife when I went to go buy stuff from him. So that always kind of like made me sad as shit. But he had a sick home gym. And he like had his buddies over. And actually, this is actually a really good point. Anyone that follows my gym or follows me for I'm always taking pictures with my friends, either in the gym or at meets and stuff like that, and I put them in magnetic photo frames and put them all over my ductwork and all over my I-beam. So I've got literally like 300 pictures like in magnetic photo sleeves all over my gym. I got that inspiration from this old dude's gym to like plaster my gym with pictures of my lifting events because he had an entire pegboard, like floor to ceiling, full of like powerlifting meets from like 30 years. So that was that specific thing, like that always stuck with me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just plaster my walls and anything I can with like pictures of me and my friends lifting. So, and I've got like years of memories of doing that now. So, but yeah, I've been flipping weight for years. It's definitely had some odd experiences buying stuff in like very seedy parts of town and just kind of be going like, oh man, I'm not a guy that owns a gun, but I probably should have one in this situation kind of thing.
Yeah, I was wondering if you've met any like really strange folk
There's
in
been some
your
few,
yeah.
and I like I don't know if it was just my like I didn't really care, but I was never one to be like if I was selling something because I've sold a lot too, and everyone's always like, oh, where do you want to meet up? And I'm like, I'm selling something, man. I'm not delivering it because I would be like, if you want me to drive somewhere, that's like an extra like $40. Like if I have to leave my house to sell you something that's like not worth like I know like if you want, I can fucking give you my address and can put it on the porch. You can Venmo me or leave the money in the mailbox if you're afraid I'm gonna fucking hurt you or something. Like it's a contact free pickup, but like there are yeah, I never really had the issue with like saying, hey, this is where I live. one thing that I found was funny. It was not necessarily vintage weights, but I sold so much stuff one summer to like the same guy that he must have been building his gym up pretty good. And I think I sold him I sold him a couple different things over the course of that summer. And he randomly showed up to my house when I was like out in my driveway doing something because he when he got the address, he ended up he was trying to buy something from someone like blocks away, and he was just in the neighborhood and was like, oh, this must be from that guy. I'm just gonna go to his house. And I was so confused when he showed up asking me to buy something, and I'm like, I don't. I might have actually even been meeting someone else to sell something like the exact same time, and that's what even made it funnier because like there were two people trying to show up, and I'm like, I know I didn't talk to you today. Why are you here? And he was like, oh no, you were supposed to buy dumbbells. I was like, I don't have any dumbbells for sale, man. And he was like, oh shit. And he looked at his phone. He's like, oh yeah, it's like a mile away or something. I must have just automatically drove here because I thought it was close. But yeah, that's I do have a lot of home gym stories or a lot of buying gym equipment stories, but nothing other than what I've already mentioned really jumps out at the time.
No? All right. So then, Big Joey, this is my question. I wasn't going to go with the Mount Rushmore just because it seems like the sisters have stolen that.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
And he acknowledged it on the podcast.
Yeah. So if you notice, there's a trend here.
I've noticed.
Oh yeah, you know,
They're going to talk about wrestling next week for a lot.
You know what? I think it was Crü Falls. So there was one where I made a joke earlier that I said something and they did it on the podcast. And then it was Crü Falls. And they were like, oh yeah, this is just now Crü Falls as canon. And I was like, hey, right here. That was me. But that's okay, man. Ask what you're gonna ask. Let them be damned.
So but I think this is better.
Okay.
It's unpaid and underrated. It's gotta be better.
You can choose these individuals from any time period and any era.
Oh geez.
But
do I have to write things down?
No.
Okay.
I want you to build a stable of wrestlers. You have four. You can choose 4 wrestlers, and you get 1 manager. So I want to hear this. I want to hear the stable. I want to hear kind of why you're choosing that person, because obviously some people might not work together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to hear your thoughts.
Jesus. Wow. It's not often somebody stumps me. I can go from any era in their prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So we're obviously going to go Bray Wyatt. But we're going to go Bray Wyatt, cult leader phase. And he's going to be the leader of the stable. We're going to go Goldust.
Nice.
We're going to go Goldust in the Attitude Era, where he was so extravagant, he made people uncomfortable. We're going to go Raven. Raven's Flock Raven. So Scott Levy is included in this. And the reason we're doing this is either all weird dudes, weird cult leader, kind of weird dudes. We're going to go Waylon Mercy from back in the 80s. So Waylon Mercy is going to come in there. He's going to be the muscle. He was a 6 foot tall, just serial killer dude. He's going to be the muscle of this stable. So that's my 4. And the reason we're picking these 4 is we've got the brains, Bray Wyatt, cult leader. We got the weird dude that every cult has, which is the Goldust. We've got everybody we need. Manager. Fuck me. Who's the best manager of all time? Taz. Taz has this thing about him where he was Taz is the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest to do what he does. He was Samoa Joe before Samoa Joe was Samoa Joe. He was Solo Sikoa before Solo. He was Roman Reigns before that. He was the ultimate, like, my only job is to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, and I still maintain that Taz is when Taz came to WWF, You can watch that intro again and again on YouTube, and it will still give you goosebumps when
Absolutely.
that heart starts beeping
Yep.
and the music starts.
Ooh,
That will.
excuse me.
I almost thought, not that I think he's a great manager at all, but just with the weirdness stuff that you're going with, like maybe the Jackal would have fit in, but
The Jackal. Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
the
He was.
he
I
was
know
that guy
him.
that was like, we're gonna have intellectual intercourse and all this stuff. He was with the oddities for a while, so he was
Yeah.
kind of like in that weird, but
So
he wasn't all that great.
no, but he's actually in AEW right now. He's Cyrus, they call him. He was also actually in ECW, the guy that represented the network back
Yeah,
when they were trying to get kicked off of TNT. Um, whatever TNT was at the Spike, I think they were called at the
yeah,
time.
Spike.
Yeah, I don't think Taz would necessarily be the best manager. I don't really dig managers. I don't think if you have a good frontman, you don't need a manager.
Yeah, and that's what it sort of seemed like with Bray Wyatt. You may not need such
Yeah,
thing.
but also Bray Wyatt had the tendency to ramble and rabbit, just talk too much. Keep in mind, I tried to say it earlier, like he played the long game, so he might have been yapping too much. But if you go back and check him out, he did this thing where he said, in every interview I have done for the last 12 weeks or 12 years or whatever, I there's a non sequitur phrase. And what he did is he actually wrote a poem. So he would go in there and talk about his opponent, and then he would have a phrase that didn't matter to the opponent, and he wrote an entire poem over those entirety. The Fiend was actually born 9 years ago. So like I said, that guy was fucking long term doing this
Yeah,
job. So I don't think like necessarily I need like maybe Bobby Heenan. Yeah. Like
yeah,
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
yeah. I
Um
don't.
yeah, like definitely if I was putting a stable together, I'd be putting weird people together because I think that there's a mental aspect to wrestling as well. I'd probably even put fuck, what's his face now? He's Darby Allin. I'd put him in there for sure. Right? Like if I had to build like an NWO stable now where I just had limited access to people making the business different. Darby Allin would be in there. Orange Cassidy would be in there. God, what's that weird dude? God, I can picture his face. His face is everywhere. He's in AEW right now. He's so nice. He's so nice and evil at the same time. Like there's so many people I would put in there, but if I was building a stable today, that's who I would put in.
Cool.
Surprised you didn't go with Paul Bearer as the like a new seem to be up your alley.
Paul Bear. Undertaker. Yeah, I mean, he was good for what he did, but he wasn't necessarily like
If it
he
wasn't
was
for
instrumental to a
what he would do.
storyline. Yeah, he introduced Kane, kind of like a Kane would have happened without him.
Your brother.
Yeah, right. Like he's alive. And it was over the top wrestling. You might as well put in brother love at that point if you're gonna go
Yeah.
and like paint his face red and just be like, I love you. Eh, yeah, I don't think that those guys necessarily contributed much to um the movement of wrestling as much as they did the movement of the character. So I think yeah, if I had to put together today based on how I feel, because honestly, like I just miss Bray Wyatt right now and with the tattoos and things like that.
Yeah.
That would be my thing. But I think that if you ask me like the strongest stable, the fastest stable, the luchador stable, I think I'd have different answers. But
No, definitely. No, I wanted that answer. Your idea stable.
yeah.
Just all around. That's good. Are the tattoos the reason why you haven't used your new deadlift bar yet?
Yes. Yeah. Specifically got told, do not strain the skin. And I was like, well, I'm a weightlifter. And he was like, not this week, you aren't. And I went,
Yeah.
noted, sir.
Yeah, because
Like, noted.
I've never used a deadlift bar, so
I was told specifically not to strain the skin at all. No bench, no deadlift, no nothing that you have to grip anything with. So I was like, I can squat, and he's like, as long as you don't use your hands. And I was like, well, I'm gonna.
yeah.
So I might as well just not at all at this rate. So yeah, I haven't lifted all week.
So I'm gonna make a Joey can't jerk off meme after they hear this episode, I think. I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
Joey-
it's real
Joey-
funny until you see how
Joey's-
pent up I am right now, Keith.
I was wondering why I had no reaction. And he was just like,
Joey's
I will fucking
socks are
kill you.
safe.
Oh gosh. All right, you got one more quick one.
Yeah,
Bring us in for a landing.
Yeah, and maybe this is too serious, Goose, and if that's the case, this could just be a comment type thing. So Keith,
Yes.
I really enjoy how much you love cats. Like, just genuinely, like, how much they mean to you. Like, growing up, did you have cats? Like, how did this love for cats
Yep.
come up?
Always a cat household, never a dog household. I could probably, let's see. So I had my cat Patches. We had her for like almost 25 years. She was like my cat. Have memories like, well, when like you have something that you were too young to remember, but like you remember people telling you, so then it like becomes a memory. So like my dad always told me like I was a toddler when she was a kitten, and so we kind of grew up together. And like I'd be like running in the hall, and she'd like pounce on me and knock me over and stuff because like we were like the same size, I guess. By the time she grew up, so we had her for from like my adolescence, or from my my literally toddler era to like early 20s. So I remember putting her down. We let her linger a little too long. Like she got to where like she couldn't like bathe herself worth of shit, and hadn't actually hit the litter box in probably a year. So I was always, but it was my cat and my responsibility at that point to like always put the newspapers down around the litter box and all that. So then we had another cat, Sebastian, that kind of overlapped her probably like 10 years. So that was funny though. They never got along. So that's why like I never wanted to get multiple cats unless they were bonded already. And like those two were an example of why not, because it's like it was almost pointless to have two cats because they fucking hated each other. Well, the young boy like would have been her best friend, but she was just set in her ways and was already a decade old when they introduced a kitten, and she was like, "This is my house, fuck you." So but yeah, always, just always had cats. Would have probably gone almost a decade without any pets because we didn't get, we got Gus maybe in our late 20s, and we lost him early this past year, so just over a year ago now. Honestly, I think if I had to guess, it's almost been like exactly a year that we had to put him down. But he was our kid. We're not going to have kids. We don't really want kids. Technically, medical reasons, it's not safe for her to have kids. So, a cat was kind of it for us. And, when we lost him, it got really hard. Now we got the new kittens, and it's, they are they are kittens, so they get into everything. They just got introduced to the basement this past week. One of them did get into the basement like a month ago, but just freaked the fuck out and went and like did like one lap, like smelling the wall, going ape shit, and hid under the treadmill until I could like pick it up and drag her out.
That's me coming into your gym too, by the way.
Yeah,
the first time I see it, I'm just
exactly.
gonna fucking freak out and hide for a few minutes. Look at all this shit.
But now the other one will go down there. Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I kind of like about so I go into people's homes and apartments, literally like I go into 50 apartments a day sometimes. So I on average I see at least one or two cats a day that are actually friendly enough and come up to me. So I pretty much almost every day I get to like pet a stranger's cat essentially. So that's kind of a nice benefit to my job when I get that. I don't know. I said just growing up, you are what you are what you kind of grow up in. We didn't have dogs. The dogs that were around, our neighbors that had dogs were just shitty white trash people that just didn't take care of their dogs. So the dogs in the neighborhood ran loose and were just kind of like not treated well. And they were like the outside dogs that just lived in a fucking kennel and like never went inside. So it was just like you almost look at it as like it's not even like a family pet. It's just a thing they own that lives in the backyard. So whereas like
Assholes.
my cat like fucking, you would sleep with your cat. So there's always just a different scenario than what I was used to. Like I just, just dogs and our family just never got really close. I don't hate
Yeah.
dogs. I mean, I have friends that have dogs. I'll pet a dog and all that, but like a dog doesn't do anything for my heart. Whereas a cat, like every time I see a cat, my heart jumps. Every time I see a dog, I'm like, are you going to bite me? Do I have to kick you? Like what's going to happen here?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was interesting because, lots of people will be like, "Oh, I'm a animal person," or this and that. But I think it was Big Murph's episode where her cat jumped up, and I could hear in your voice when you were like, "Oh," like this dude really actually cares about cats. Like it's not just like I'm a cat person over, that sort of thing. So it was just sort of interesting to me.
I've told multiple people in my life that I value a cat's life more than theirs, and they don't take it well.
I can see why though. Like I can see why. Luckily, I work in a place. Sorry, not live in a place. I work in a place where dogs get trained. So where we work, we're right next to like a dog training facility. So I have the luxury of people bringing in dogs that are being trained to be service dogs.
That's cool.
And if they're young enough, you get to say, "Hi, are you socializing?" And they will go, "Yes, please. Come pet this puppy."
No.
And have you ever heard the best fucking phrase in your life? "Yes, please come pet this puppy." Because otherwise, service dogs are forbidden dogs.
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
forbidden dogs. Nope, you're at work. I appreciate you. Support everything you do, sir. But yeah, cats at the same time too. Like you got to come meet Steve's cats. At some point you're gonna have to come up here and meet these fucking vicious, feral, psychotic animals that are Steve's serval cats or Savannah cats or whatever they are. And when I say that, I mean, no, they're adorable dummies that just want to cuddle and probably bite you a little bit, but like in that way that you're just like, "Hey, stop it."
Now, are you talking about cats or just that sound like you described like 80% of crew?
No, no, no.
No,
If anybody from crew is biting you, you
it's
should
true.
probably be
A
checking their card. Check
little
their
ear
card.
nibbling's not a bad thing sometimes. I made the mistake of taking like the dregs sip of the Spindrift, and oh my god,
You know what's funny is when I was
I don't know
down
why I
at
keep
Trader
drinking
Joe's,
that.
I saw the spin drift and was like, "I'm not buying that shit. That
You
shit
made
looks
the
weird." I'm
you
glad
made
I
the right decision.
glad I
I
opted out. There was when I was down at Target, the watermelon liquid death. So liquid death apparently has just like gone into everything. It just like flavored fucking everything. And I was like, I want one of those. I don't want a whole 12 of those. So I opted out of it. So if anybody like wants to go ahead and buy some liquid death watermelon, I forget
I've
what
had the melon one.
that's the one I'm talking about
Yeah,
probably.
I had it. The 7-Eleven by my work had it, and they for some reason now they have 20-ounce cans.
Yes, yes, that's actually
Yeah.
so I keep bringing them to the podcast thinking I'm going to open one of these, but the damn thing's the size of my forearm. Like I'm not ready for that. Like, I'm not
Not,
quite prepared
not
for a
ready for that
20
commitment.
ounce can. Fucking thing's the size of a missile. Like I'm not here for that. That's actually why I keep saying I've got liquid death this week, but I'm not opening it because I just don't have the time or patience to drink that much water. There's beer to drink. All right. Is there anything else we want to get to? Any more wrestling? Is that all your questions, Andrew?
Uh, no, I mean I had a serious one for you. And I mean,
No, hit me. Hit me.
you don't have to answer it. I genuinely enjoy being a dad. It's one of the greatest things in my life, and I can
Yep.
tell that you do too.
Yep.
I can tell that not only are you a good dad, you genuinely enjoy being with your kids, which is like, one of the greatest things. So, I was just thinking about like little things that I always knew that I wanted to be a dad and wanted to have kids and to show them this or that or to, eh, but there are little things that I catch myself that like I didn't realize I would love so much. Taking my daughter to gymnastics class and seeing her eyes light up as she's doing, you know, doing her gymnastics, or my son just had his birthday, and just seeing how like proud of himself he was that he was wearing this like birthday. These are things that when I had envisioned previously what being a dad would be like, they're just like little things that I didn't realize. And you'd spoken about something before about taking your son to like a botanical garden or something, like how that was something that's special to you. But I didn't know if there was, and you don't have to answer it, this could just be a comment, but if there's anything like little thing that you didn't realize that is just really special to you. And if you don't want, I just wanted to say that that's something that I really, what I see.
Yeah, I don't want to. And we always do this. We always end this in this sappy, serious.
You guys got to bring at least one comedy question, guys. But no, this is a good one. I enjoy it.
So, being a parent is you're confronted with a lot of your own impatience. You're confronted with a lot of your own, like, fuck, how do I deal with this hard thing? Right? Like your child annoying you, and it's just a child and you can't deal with it. And then one day I was reading a story from somebody who had lost their children. And they said specifically that their child used to love slamming the screen door. And then every day their kid would wake up and go outside and they would fucking slam that screen door. And God, we hated it. We yelled at them and we tried to discourage it. And we got so mad. We got so frustrated. And then our kid died. And goddamn, I would wish that kid would slam that door one more time. That's all they wanted, was to hear that kid slam that door one more time. I approach parenthood with that same approach. My only goal, guys, is to be a better dad than the dad I had. That's all I ever wanted. Just be a better dad than the dad I had. My biological father was not great. The one that we live with now was the best version I could have had. But obviously, there's just things that you can learn, things that you can do differently. I think right now, my favorite part of being a father is genuinely, it is hard too, because like they yell, they scream. I hate when he hurts his sister. He's 4, she's 2, and he's just mean to her sometimes. And I understand that that's like kid brain, like they don't understand better, but like I just want to teach you to be better. Like don't hurt your sister, don't do that. So ultimately I love when they show me something they're excited about. And that's it. That's it. Daddy, read me this book. Well, this fucking book sucks. This book sucks. But you want me to read it again for the 3rd time today? I'll try, man. I'll get through it. I'll do my best. Because it's your favorite book right now. Hey, Daddy, that song you played earlier. Earlier I posted on Instagram Diggy Diggy Hole from fucking Windrose. It was some stupid song. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole. Dig in a hole. And my kids sing that to me because they want to listen to it with me. Well, hell yeah, buddy. We're going to put that on again and again and again. And we're going to experience this same thing together. It's the same reason my wife loves me. It's when somebody is so passionate about something they want to share with you. That's all they want to talk to you about for a few minutes. So
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm getting at too. That excitement, just loving seeing their excitement.
yeah.
Something I didn't expect. It's just
I never would have expected that. Like,
Yeah.
Daddy, look at these fish. They're fucking dumb fish. Who cares? But he's never seen fish before. And I will bring you to those fish every chance I get to get that excitement again.
Yeah, very good. That's my questions for you guys.
Sorry, that was way too serious, Goose.
Yeah,
there.
so is there something funny? Like,
So
I
we
don't
have
know.
this game we like to play.
I think we're good either. I think we just hit the 3-hour mark, boys. So I say
okay, Keith, what do you think of
we
Will
did it.
Ferrell?
We did it.
Will Ferrell is fucking shit. He is the coop of comedy. Not even, I
There
can't
we
even
go.
say that. Like, well, yeah, because I don't think he's sold out. I think he's always been who he is. So that was a bad analogy. Well, I don't know.
What?
I don't want to talk about Will Ferrell. He's not funny.
He's kind of funny. He's funnier than Big Matt.
Oh, yeah.
He probably has more followers than Matt.
Oh, I had that totally ruined it. I had a bunch of questions for Big Matt. I thought he was going to be here.
Well, we like it if he was here, but he just opted out. He just
what's one I'll answer for Matt. I know him pretty well. Him and I, we got to know.
Okay, but only if you do a Boston accent.
Oh God, I can't.
Yeah, here we go. Improv time for Keith.
I can't even because I'm just gonna have to raise my voice, and my wife is gonna already be pissed because
My
I'm
wife.
until 11:30.
My wife.
No, but I do think it's hilarious. My little brother is sending me mostly squat videos, and my little brother doesn't lift. He doesn't follow any of that stuff, and he's sending me mostly squat videos. I'm like, yeah, this dude's in our Discord. He never shows up to the podcast. What
That's
what's
great.
The deal with not showing up to the podcast?
Yeah.
All right, guys, where do we find
we'll get
you?
him on in the future.
Where do we find you, Keith? Give us where we find us.
So website unpaid.
Fucking orange glasses. You're still wearing those fucking orange glasses.
I've taken them on and off a few different times. Fuck off.
You're gonna hurt yourself, man.
All right. Unpaidinternpodcast.com. I'm Big Keith. You can find me Keith Honeycutt 73. Go follow my Orange Jim, the No Wine Cellar. Go follow Mr. Big Andrew Garrison. Where at?
You can follow me at Clawtron, CLAWTRON on Instagram. I think I'm pretty funny. I don't post very much, but
You like rocks?
Yeah, I like.
We
rocks.
all love rocks.
And I'm on the Discord. So Big Garrison Andrew.
Perfect. And Joey, where are you at, buddy?
Joey _ Molesko, MLECZKO. And again, apparently most of you aren't following me, and that's kind of fucking hilarious. Like, I have guests coming up in the next 2 weeks that don't follow me. So that was interesting to find out. And also I'm just Big Joey on the I'm the original Big Joey. There's other Big Joeys.
I think there's like 3 now, isn't there? I think there's more than 2.
Yeah, but I'm the OG.
All right, boys. We'll see you next Tuesday.